I got a double ride.
Just put let me turn my microphone off.
Just bear with me 1 second. See, this is when I usually have my music. I think we're all set.
You know, we interviewed Ovius recently, right?
Who?
Ovius, Ovi.
No,
You remember
really?
from Bar 13? What was that? Louder
Oh,
Arts.
yes, I remember.
He's in New York. He's in the city.
Wow. See, I can't wait until the pandemic is over so we can just get back out
That'll.
and actually touch stages. But this has been like phenomenal. This is a blessing.
Yeah.
So, yep, there we go. I just want to tag a few people before we get started. I'll do it this way.
It's on your page, Paradise.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Really loud. Let's do this. It's on my Paradise Christie. Thank you for sharing.
Your personal page or your fan page?
My personal page.
Okay.
And it automatically connects there. And then, so our sip and speak is going to be different. I know that we didn't do December, but my vision was totally different when January came. And I'm like, you know what? New year, new time, new day, new things. Let's just do it, right? So, sip and speak with Paradise. I've been doing it for a couple of months now. It is 4:48 at this moment, but it's a little too early for me to be sipping on wine. So I'm just drinking my coffee, right? So depends on how the day goes, right? So, oh, there goes beautiful Paige. Um, but I like it to be as organic as possible for us to have fun. There is no theme. Whatever you feel like doing, whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind, that's how we move, that's how we flow. Mine is my music. I think I don't know what happened. I just added Paige, but then I lost her, but she'll be back. So we're gonna wait for other artists to come, but we're gonna dive right in, right? So I'm gonna like break the ice, and then I have a different component for the speaking portion of it. So I will be asking you guys questions, and we have other artists coming. So one, I want to say thank you for being a part of this first event in 2021, where my son keeps saying, "Mommy, you know what that means? 2021." And I'm like, oh, I don't get the joke. But okay, see, Ameerah got it. You know, you be around kids when they have jokes like that. And I'm
My
like, no.
kids told me too. I posted that too because they told me.
Yes. I'm like, he was like, do you get it? Do you get? I'm like, I get it, right? But so thank you for being a part of the first event. Um, thank you for confirming ahead of time. And um, hi Paige. How are
Hey,
you?
how are you?
Good.
I
So
found my way finally. Trying to get everything together.
no problem. Right on time. Just getting
Awesome.
started. So it's a little awkward for me without my music, but we're gonna do it this way and we're gonna keep it moving. So I have a piece. I'll explain it later, but I'm gonna just dive. I'm gonna break the ice. I always like to do an icebreaker. Let's see if I can do it this way. Yep. That didn't work for me. Okay. It's short and sweet, and you know I don't normally do short poems. So
Don't.
you guys are gonna be surprised, right? So it's called Until She Spoke, right? And it's incomplete, but I feel like it's only right that I start us off with this piece. Until she spoke, they didn't think of us. until she spoke. They didn't truly see us, hear us, believe in us, respect us until she spoke at the inauguration. Dear Amanda, thanks for letting them know we're here. We care. Our gifts are real. Unafraid, we'll continue to use our voices to uplift, empower, inspire, and heal others. You know, that face they used to make when you'd say, I'm a poet? Yeah, that one. When they'd refer to us as backpacking poets, assuming we are broke or broken, yeah, Lord knows what happens when they see us. Now they see us. Now the lights are on. Amanda, you were right. You are right. You are light. We are light. Amanda Gorman, Queen, poet to poet, I salute you. Because of you, they see us.
Are we allowed to respond?
Yes, please
Mother
and thank you. I was just about to say that.
Mother hostess. I wanted to say that so badly. I kind of like made little posts like poetry is the new black. How about them poets now? And it was irregardless of the fact that poets have spoken at almost every inauguration. Like, and I didn't want to say anything because then it might come like it's negative against Amanda. And it wasn't that feeling at all. It was just like, what? What
Yep.
does that really mean? So yeah, without sounding, like hating, I was just like, there always has been a poet at the inauguration. He was good, yes. But what is this fever now? So
Yes.
we just better ride that wave. That's all I have to say.
Please do. Please
Right.
do.
And the fact that she's the National Youth Poet Laureate, I think made a tremendous impact because, we're all trying to get the next generation into the literary arts, into the performing arts, into poetry. And it's so hard when you have things like reality TV shows that really skew reality. Or things that don't really have any substance to it. And you're trying to, as educators, you're trying to teach poetry. You're trying to teach the importance of poetry. And as a friend of mine here in Jersey City says, poetry is a reflection of today's society. So if that our youth now have a foothold and understanding what that means, I think is just tremendous. I get chills just thinking about it.
It's amazing because so many people called me to say like, did you see the poet? Right? So now it's like poet to poet, right? And then our news feed was flooded. And I'm like, now you see us? Like, of course I salute you and I say thank you. But there was a part of me that was like, okay, so we've been around for quite some time. Like I watch reality TV all the time. And I'm like, we see shows about every art form, right? Love and hip hop, we see dancing, we see music, but we've yet to see, and I probably shouldn't say this, somebody can steal my idea, but you heard it here first. We've yet to see, yes, we had Death Poetry Jam, right? That's different, but we haven't seen a live reality TV show for the life of a poet. Like what we go through, how we sit there and we write and we try to create and make sure that it's right. Like when Raymond said on Deep Soul Poetry, right? He said, have you ever written something where you said, should I say that? So when I saw it, I was like, no, I don't really say that. I just be writing. That's not true. I'm like, every time I put pencil to paper or pen to paper, I question if I should say it, how it's going to be received, if they're going to get it. Ooh, should I say that?
Yeah.
But I've learned that.
Not
Say
only
that again?
I question whether it's coming from a place of love or whether it's coming from a place of, hey, look at me. because because it's not a reality TV show. And there's plenty of things you can write if you just. There's plenty of things you can write if you want to do. Hey, look at me. You know. So yeah, I definitely look at the motivation and where I'm coming from, because I know a lot of times I am going for. I do want people to take a step back and think about what I'm saying and even challenge me. So I never forget I was at a coffee shop and there was a family in there and I was cursing up a storm. I usually don't, but it was the nature of this particular piece. And and then the guy said, "Well, about the language. I like the poem, but the language." I said, "Yeah, you ever take your kids to see an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie?" Yeah. I said, yeah, "Case closed. I'm done."
But
Um,
just
This is like Eddie Murphy said. I ain't get up on stage and just say Phil Flan, 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 just start cursing.
Wait, is that Dujuana? Do I see
Yes,
Dujuana?
that's Dujuana.
Dujuana.
That's Kali the
hello.
poet. We have Crustl.
Same to you.
Welcome,
Hey,
everyone.
Paradise, quick question. I was
Yes.
trying to share the live feed and I don't see it on your page. We were in the chat talking about it and it says on there recording live on Facebook, but I'm not sure where it's going to. It's not going
Yes,
to
and
your page.
it's showing that it's on my page. I don't know why it's not
and
showing
I
for
refreshed
everyone.
a couple of times just to make sure.
Yeah, I did the
so did
same
I.
thing.
Can you share it?
Yes,
And then maybe we can.
I'm gonna do that now.
Yeah, I want to make sure people see it. I'll share it in the Black Lives Matter page as well.
Thank you. We'll do that
Yeah.
now. Because I think somebody just messaged me as well. Here we go.
But just while she's doing that, piggybacking off of what Rescue said, yeah, if it gets the youth into thinking that this is cool, let me do it. I'm all for it. I'm all, and I think that's part of the message that is going out there now, since she's getting such recognition. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice to see those schools like having a trend now, of like poetry clubs and poetry slams. Like, it would be nice if we could keep rolling with that, which would be great.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Crystl and I recently did a couple of youth open mics and a couple of youth poetry events. And I've done workshops in schools, and it has a huge impact. You don't realize just how much creativity they have and how much they want to share what's inside and get it out in a safe, positive environment. I know that sounds like a cliche, but if kids know that they can share and not be judged by their adults on what they share, I think that opens up a whole bunch of new doors that we never even considered before, or have considered but didn't have the opportunity to open them up.
Yeah, I think what's more powerful and what I'm starting to see the conversation being brought up is the fact that she had a speech impediment. So there you have, the mental health issue and how this young lady is working through it. And because of it, she became the national poet laureate. That statement alone is like, just for kids and like, no matter, because we all suffer from something. You know what I'm saying? And for her to push past it and come into her greatness is so empowering, even just for me, for the world, but even for me, like that's inspiring. So yeah, I think that's
exactly.
Yeah.
That I think that when I was in North Jersey, when I was in, I used to do a mentor program for youth in Newark. The AXO program is a part of the NAACP. And that's what they had me doing, mentoring youth, or asked me to do, mentor youth through creative writing. And it was through poetry. So they would come in, like I even have a poem about it that I wrote, because you would see them so stoic, like, void of emotion almost, until we started writing. And then the things that they were holding in the outside, in the inside, they felt comfortable enough to begin to write about it, which is why in that piece I said, our voices help to heal others. So through creative writing, through sharing our gifts, you don't know if what you're writing about, like when Raymond said, do you question if you should write this? Even on that note, it's like, you never know who's listening to you. Like I would have never known Amanda had a speech impediment. She performed like it was superb, like the hand gestures through the mic. I was like, come on, sister, do it. My son was like, I know that's the best part you like, mommy. And I'm like, yes. So, but I don't know, side note, I don't know what's going on with the live. I just posted it again. I shared it publicly. I don't know why Facebook said only I could see it. That's not going to work for us. So I changed the privacy settings and hopefully you guys will get it. But so what we're going to do is move along. But I saw Paige is coming back and I saw her with her mug. And since we're sipping and speaking, I see the tea. I wanted to know what kind of tea she was sipping on.
My children, there was a blood curdling scream from downstairs, but it was video game related, so we're all good. It just sounded like particularly bad, so I wanted to double check. I have 4 kids, for those of you who don't know, but I just ordered this. This I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Pukka. I'm from Long Island, so I can't pronounce anything correctly. But it is blackcurrant beauty tea, and I picked it because it matches my shirt.
Very nice.
It was the 2 years I spent in Baltimore City, where everything has to coordinate in that city. That's how they roll. But yeah, I appreciate everything that you're saying. I was an English teacher for many years. So I always felt I had a special in with the students because we did a lot of journal writing, not as much poetry, but they got more poetry from me than ever before. But, you know, to have that safe space is so important, and to know like you're not going to be judged, you know, to create a classroom environment like that is so important and rare. So that's what
amazing.
Yeah.
So without further ado, hi Crystl, hi Kylie, hi Dujuana. I just want to say that again because I know we were talking about the poem, right? Thanks for joining us. I'm so excited about tonight, but I'm gonna stop talking, right? Because that's just what I do to get my nerves out the way. And I'm gonna look into this whole live thing again to make sure that everybody has access to it. Maybe what I'll do is share it to my The Art of Paradise page and then go that way. Go ahead, Ameerah.
It's giving a message that says this content isn't available now. This happens when the owner is sharing it with a small group of people.
Okay, I'm gonna share it to my The Art of Paradise.
Okay.
So that, and then share it that way. But
okay,
in the meantime, Rescue, the poet, if you can take us away. But I did have questions, right? So this is what I'm gonna ask you guys before you start your poem. If you wanna introduce yourself, please feel free to do it. I think nobody can do it better than you yourselves. Also, like, because it's January and this is a whole new thing for me, I had questions as a part of the speaking portion of this, not just poetry, right? Which would be, how did you come to poetry? Like, you know, how did you get here? How did you develop your love for poetry? And then, like, do you remember your first poem? Like the name of it? And do you still perform it? So I'm gonna try to drop those in the chat at the same time because, you know, I'll be multitasking here. But Rescue, I know I just put you on the spot with all those questions, right? And you're the first one up, but take us away. It's all yours.
It's all good. Thank you, Paradise. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here among this amazing group of artists and spirits and poets and educators and amazing superheroes. So thank you for that. I'm originally from Paterson, New Jersey, born and raised, and I've been in Jersey City since 2006. I've been writing poetry ever since I can remember. I first performed here in Jersey City, and I couldn't tell you the name of the first poem I wrote, but I can tell you the name of the first poem I performed. I had gone through a series of, as my kids were getting older, because I have adult children, I wrote 2 poems one to my daughter, my two daughters, and one to my son. So I think those were the first two pieces that I performed. And then there was this one piece that I wrote because my mother had passed around that same time. And I wanted to honor her and honor spirits and people who have come and gone in our lives. And it was the first poem I memorized because, you know, when you're a newbie and you're standing on stage, your hands are shaking, you're holding the paper and you're going like this, trying to read your poem. So it was, for me, the icebreaker. So that's the first poem I'm going to perform today. And here we go. In the event of my untimely demise, let it never be said that I went quietly, without love in my heart, rage on my soul, or thoughts on my mind. Instead, let me be remembered for the loves I've had, the convictions I stubbornly held onto, the lack of filter from head to lips, thoughts spewing forth without fear. You see, I'm not afraid to die. I'm not afraid to be forgotten. I am afraid of being in this life as if already dead, of not having the passion of my heart ignited or of having that fire extinguished. I'm not afraid to fly past clouds, reach beyond stars, pick blazing flowers in a meadow of midnight blue. I am afraid of falling from the sky, tumbling to the earth without possibility of being caught because there was no body in sight. I'm not afraid of pain, hardship, or sacrifice. Badges of unconditional love, giving till nothing remains and then finding more to give. I am afraid of heartbreak, thoughtless treatment of my value and sentiment by the one who proclaims to love me forever. In the event of my untimely demise, let it never be said that I didn't speak my mind. When told to hold my tongue, struggle for release, when bound by the expectations of others, break free to be who I am. In the event of my untimely demise, let me go as I've always wanted, in the throes of passion. Thank you.
Oh, I love it. Yes, unmute yourselves. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Talk about I want to go down having the good old goodie in my boogies. Yeah.
Leave it up to Dujuana.
I want to go down when it's getting down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I miss you, Dujuana. I was just thinking that, like, she said, I am afraid of falling from the sky. I had to write that down. I'm like, how about that? That was amazing. That was amazing. So I know I'm still having problems with the live. I'm going to get it. Hopefully I get it before we're done. Right? So, but I'm going to give the people what they want. Thank you so much, Rescue. So just so that everybody here knows, like, even the format of it, I'm hoping that we'll be able to do 2 rounds, right? So if you can stick around, that would be amazing. If you can't, I definitely understand. And I thank you again for showing up. And I'm going to pass the baton over to James, right? So I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. I can say so many things about all of you, right? But I'm going to let him do it. I dropped those questions in the chat. So just so again, we're dealing with, you know, how did you come to love or enjoy poetry or become even a poet? And then, you know, do you remember the name of your very first poem and do you still perform it? You could take us away, James.
All right. James Ellerbe, spoken word, recording artist, author. Just a longtime lover of poetry. My first poem that I ever written was actually for a funeral for my childhood friend and his sister who passed away in a fire. That was the first time that I really, really got to know like the power of words and how they can change people and even heal people, as was said before by Paradise, and especially in moments of loss and moments of struggle. But I don't remember it because I gave the original copy to the mother of my childhood friend. So, but it was through that experience that encouraged me to write more and share it more publicly in a public setting, and you know, help others, you know, see life through a different way, or even connect in the similar ways, because we all kind of go through the same things, might not be the same exact things, but similar things. So I'm gonna just go right in, change the mode a little bit. And I want to do this piece. This is actually off my spoken word album, Pulsar, and it goes by the name of Poetry, Cell Phones and Relationships. So, you know, hope you dig it. We treat our relationships like our cell phone nowadays. We gotta have the next hotness, the latest toy to stick with the times. See, I remember when Nakia came on the scene for the first time. I remember when he called on her for the first time. No more searching for dimes, quarters, or nickels to make a connection. She was perfection. Nakia was portable. And if he needed more time with her, he carried an extra back. But she lacked extra features. Then Motorola came and she was nice, but she took a little bit more of his payola just to give him the time of day. She had a slim frame and was very colorful. She even had new features like theme music to announce her presence. She was elegant, but she couldn't quite get the job done. Then BlackBerry came along and he was in all of her business savvy. He loved to press her buttons. He would mess with her in business meetings and received her messages very well. But not a lot of bells and whistles. She wasn't sociable enough, wasn't user-friendly. He would rather waste his time with another fruit named Apple. Boy, did he love to touch her screen. And she even came with her own music collection. Her software connections were very fast, but she didn't last long. She got a little smaller and lasted a little longer, but he resolved to wanting another cell phone with a little bit more meat on her bones. So he switched to Samsung because she had more real estate with more widgets to press. She was customizable. Music was easy to lay on her. And if he didn't know much about her, all he had to do was Google her. He would go back to Apple when he needed his life made easier. So she hired Siri as his assistant to get his answers in an instant. She became about business. And she didn't even need a computer geek to tweet her praises. He wasn't sure how, but he heard Samsung hired 2 assistants, S-Voice and Google Now. He would go back and forth between Apple and Samsung for years. What seemed like a new cell phone every 2 days was more like every 2 years. When one would up her game, the other one would do the same. What was once the norm today would later become the mundane. The moral of the story is you should have one cell phone that has all the qualities that you need. Or you might find that what you really want today is really out of your league. If she's right for you, keep her around a while. Or find yourself with no cell phone. And as it pertains to relationships, alone. Cell phones and relationships.
Woo-hoo. Nice one.
Thank you.
Come on, James. Like
Hey,
when he said, go ahead.
I ain't never gonna look at a cell phone the same again.
Yes. I'm like, oh, wait. First, I'm thinking we talk about cell phones. Then I'm like, we talking about women. What you mean? Listen, you need to have one with all the features, like just one that does everything. You don't need multiple. I'm with you on that, James. I'm with you on that. Listen, that creativity was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So anybody else that want to chime in, please do. Go ahead, James. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
I wrote that because we were talking about reality TV. It actually was inspired by reality TV. And I would see like they would promote, these relationships or these tragedies. And they were all, everything that, the guys were into, or and vice versa, they were all superficial things. And I'm like, it reminded me of, like, one of my biggest vices is cell phones. I'm not afraid to admit it. And I thought about it. I was like, I always gotta have the next cell phone. And then I was like, that's kind of like relationships. We gotta have this for the wrong reasons. And hence the poem "Cell Phone and Relationships." Yeah.
Yeah, and similar to that, you always have those people that are always with one until the next best comes through.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Whether a digital device, whether it's the next best person, whether it's greener pastures on the other side, whatever, however you want to describe it. Everyone knows those people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always an idea, a perception that, I'm just holding on to this for right now until something better comes along.
Yeah.
What you were saying there, that if you're waiting, you're going to end up being alone.
Yeah, you're going to have nobody. It's like you're not going to have a cell phone if because eventually it's going to, break your pockets and you're not going to be able to get the next cell phone.
Right. I mean, who's going to pay $2,000 for a phone?
Well,
that's crazy.
What about
You'd be surprised.
Yep.
I like it's the hip thing to get. That's what they'll get.
Exactly.
I like the analogies, James, to the differences in the models. So, like, women are all different, and you might trade in this for that. It's probably the same thing that Rescue is saying. But I keep remembering that 80-20 rule, so be careful.
I don't know if y'all noticed the shift in the poem. Like originally it was all like physical things, but then it got into like business and things that were important to that individual. And I wanted to demonstrate, like, even being transparent, I didn't know the meaning of true love until later on in my life, and now with my wife, because you really don't know what love is truly about until you're in a serious relationship with someone. And that's where, the definition of love is truly, expressed. So when you especially when you're responsible for another being, another soul, that's the true definition of love, so like every action that I do, affects her. And I have to be mindful of that, in anything that I do, or anything, or even how I portray myself out in public, affects her too as well, so.
Yes. Look, everybody's nodding their head, because I'll tell you in a heartbeat, you're not going to go outside representing us like that.
And my wife has told me, what are you doing?
Yes. And the funny part is, like, just before we dive into the next poet, as we're talking about cell phones and relationships, right? I was thinking about T-Mobile. Yes, I have T-Mobile. I don't know who else has, but T-Mobile has the Jump program. So every 6 months you can jump. And to me, that's what this world is now. Like, we did, not we, because, I'm very traditional, right? I like to stay with one person, if that's possible. But people just jump to jump. So it reminded me what Rescue was saying. We want the new thing. We want the hottest thing, and easily bored. So now that you have the iPhone 11, when Apple decides to introduce the 12, that's dang near the same, right? The camera might be better, right? And this is the other part of it. They're going to allow us, after you use your new 12 for a couple months, they're going to allow all their Apple customers to update their software, right? So it's like, what's the point? But yes, I like that. That's going to be in my head swirling around. But as we continue to swirl, the video is now public because for some reason I posted it as only me, only I can see it. Yeah, so working out the kinks. First time for everything. Thanks for being patient and working with me. But without further ado, don't forget those questions. If you need it again, let me know. Raymond, you with me? You got all my questions, Raymond? Oh, okay, good, because he's next, right? So all my questions, he's gonna introduce himself, let everybody know what's going on with Raymond. If you don't know, you should ask somebody because he everywhere. But I'm gonna let him lay out that and also answer the questions and then take us right away with your poem.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. So, I got into poetry a long time ago, and actually I got into poetry as a kid and a show off. I was going to church, and I used to go to what was called a young people's meeting. And the thing about that is, if you're bold enough to get up and say a poem or sing a song or whatever, doesn't matter how bad you are. If you're bold enough to go up there, people will clap and say amen when you're done. So, so that didn't give me a good basis for getting better, but eventually I did get better. The first poem I really wrote as an adult was called Johnny Red Blue, and I wrote it for a local group organization called the Uptown Jazz Society. They hired me, commissioned me to write the poem and to perform it at several of their events. And I don't perform it anymore. I could, but I moved on. I'm not the type of person that likes to keep performing the same stuff because I'm never in the same place. So I've just evolved and moved on. So that was all the questions, right? Okay, cool. So now it is on me to find the poem that I want to read. And let's see. Here we go. I'm going to change the mood again. So, a friend of mine posted like 5 questions like, what friend would you pick to do this or do that and do whatever? And one of the things was, what friend would you pick to help you hide a dead body? So I was like, you know what? That sounds like that should be a poem. And I thought I would write a poem about it. And if you'd like to hear it, here it go. Poem number 25, how to pick someone to help you hide a dead body, inspired by my friend Donatrice Allison. If you need to hide a dead body, do not like this post and do not pick me. In fact, stop reading right now. If you still need to hide a dead body, pick someone that ain't afraid of going back to jail. Someone that works in law enforcement. They can tell you where not to dig. Nah, we can't fit no more bodies in that park over there. I'm just saying. Pick someone you wouldn't miss, just in case you have to get rid of one more dead body than you originally planned for. Have you got a friend with the truck? Have you got a friend with the cement truck? Now, of course, okay. Have you got a friend with the cement truck? Have you got a friend with the cement truck that will not ask questions? Have you got a friend that will come out of the house at 1 a.m. and not demand that someone be pregnant or already dead. Considering who will help you hide a dead body is something to consider before you have to actually hide a dead body. In fact, you may want to consider a friend that can calm you down before it gets to that, or at least one that knows you well enough to keep a disguise, passport, cash, and an open plane ticket on hand for you and them, just in case. So, God willing, that sounded like a poem.
All right.
All right, Raymond and got one here and told people how to get away with murder.
Maybe I should have wrote for entertainment purposes only. But,
Yeah, that poem needs a disclaimer, brother. It really does.
listen, I told somebody today, I'm from Atlantic City, where we can all get along. And damn it, if we can't all get along, damn it, we can get it on. So
that sounds very Jersey City to me. Right? Yes, we definitely understand. I'm like, wait, he said a whole cement truck. Like, okay, we're gonna be in trouble. I just want you to know I just made this whole live public, Raymond. So you might, like Paige said, want to give out disclaimers beforehand.
like I said, I'm the type of person, I'm the friend to call if you want somebody to calm you down before it gets to that. You know, like I said, you want to
And it
have
keeps you out of jail, so you're welcome.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna need some more of those because I don't have too many. Like my sisters, I have 5 sisters. Yes.
Oh wow.
I really have 5. I have, let's see, I have 2 older sisters. I have a twin sister. Yes, I'm really a twin. Her name is Crustl. And I have 2 younger sisters. And I have probably about 13 nephews at this point.
so which one of them would you call to help you hide a dead body?
Any one of them, especially my twin.
You already
sister.
failed. You cannot.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Not to snitch, right? Come on, that was a setup.
you trying to get her in trouble with her siblings, man.
Not that I know from experience.
Yeah.
Disclaimer: no poets have been harmed. No poets have been harmed in the execution of this event.
Like
no poets were harmed in the making of this poem.
But you know what, Rescue? I couldn't even say that and not be lying.
What? Why would you make a public confession?
I know, right?
I'm just saying, there's some poets who thought I was sweet and they found out otherwise.
Right. Okay, come on, Mr. Atlantic City, how you doing?
That's the never mistake my kindness for weakness.
Yes.
Start of a poem.
Mm-hmm. I tell people, listen, you can get nice Christy or you can get Jersey City Christy. You get to pick. You get to pick how she shows up.
What you got to say about Dujuana?
I've seen them both. I've seen both of the Christies. Look, there's 3. Actually, there's 3 Christies. Don't let her
Wait a minute, you lived to tell about this too.
Yeah, I did.
What you mean?
I did.
So I'm thinking Dujuana is probably really the one who has the passport and the cash and everything like that. And
Indeed.
when things go sideways.
I like when I see people pick up their cups.
In the disguise.
Mm-hmm.
The disguise is very important.
You said pick up your
bottle count.
I heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely counts.
Yes.
So Raymond.
Wait a minute.
You want to hide a dead body? Pick someone that you really not gonna miss. If you need help hiding a dead body, you said pick someone that you wouldn't miss. What are you gonna kill that person?
I said,
just in case
somebody
things go
who
south
you really
with them.
wouldn't miss in case you have to hide one more dead body you're accounting for.
See?
Maybe we should have kept this not live on Facebook,
That's
actually.
Stitches get stitches.
I know. I gotta go back in and change the privacy settings.
I need a stage name stat before I talk anymore.
Well, if it gets blocked, you know why.
Yes.
Right, Facebook
blame
shut
him.
you down.
That sounds like a little Edgar Allan Poe in there, baby. Sounds like you got a little Edgar Allan Poe blood in there.
There you go.
Yes.
Right?
Listen, before we dive into the next poet, right? So everybody held up their cup, right? So we know that Paige is drinking, she's sipping on some tea because this is sip and speak, right? So yes, is that Diet Pepsi you're drinking, Ameerah? Is that what
I can only drink Diet Pepsi. I don't drink other sodas. I don't know. It's just stuck on this one. I don't know.
Okay.
Don't anybody say it's bad for me. Okay, like I know.
Diet Pepsi is delicious.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
I wasn't even gonna say it was bad. I was gonna say I want all the Pepsi. I want all the sugar.
Oh, I just can't handle the one with sugar. I don't know. It's so different.
Exactly. So
look, it's happy hour somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
Nobody's got a glass
Happy
of
hour right now.
Wait, Rescue, I saw you with a glass. I was coming to you next.
That's just water, y'all. That's just water.
I wish you had like
alkaline water, okay? Alkaline
That
water.
Jersey gin. That's that Jersey gin, girl.
And then Dujuana, please show me what you had in your hand. That looks like a whole coffee pot.
She got a whole teapot, and I am not mad.
That's what's
I
up.
love it.
What kind of tea is it?
There's it's green tea with ginger, probiotics, lemon, and hibiscus. That's why.
No honey.
Ooh.
No
You're not
honey,
gonna fall asleep
I
on us,
just
are
like
you?
it.
Hibiscus makes you very calm and very relaxed.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you start hearing snoring from then, just be prepared, Paradise, to mute her.
But she
No
has the green
problem.
tea. She got the green tea mixed in, so she'll be good. It'll level
Yes,
out.
exactly.
It's kind of a counterbalance.
Yeah.
Got all the good stuff infused in one.
See, I drink a whole pot of coffee and then I drink tea. So people think I'm all calm and then I'm really tired. I'm
You're
really
like,
trying to calm my nerves.
That's me too.
I drink
Yep.
coffee too. A lot
That's
of
me. That's
He drinks
exactly
the
what I have.
Bustelo. Dujuana drinks that Bustelo. That really
Bustelo.
Oh,
wow.
Bustelo is
Bustelo.
good.
Bustelo.
Wow.
My baby. Give me some Bustelo.
Straight up. My dad used to say that you should drink your coffee black so you could put hair on your chest. And I'm like, but I don't want hair on my chest. He was like, no. And so you do need some hair on your chest. You know, like metaphorically. He was a poet and didn't know it.
But I do have coffee. But I do have, you see, when I turn my head this way, you know, the life of a parent, my son, he just does not listen to the rules, especially when I'm on Zoom. Like, get your snacks, ask me all your questions. Don't come in here until I'm done. How many times have I looked in that direction already?
But you know how it is when you have kids, they ignore you when you are available 100% of the time. When you are available 95% of the time, they want your whole attention. That's
Exactly.
just how. That's just
So
how.
I'm just like, I just fan this way. Okay. But I did add a shot of Bailey's apple pie in my coffee.
That's a thing. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm like, it's 4:00. I'm not ready for the wine, but I will put a shot of
You got
Kahlua.
syrupy liquor up in your coffee, sister.
It
You
is
got syrup
good.
in the
It
bottom
is
of your coffee cup
delicious.
that's going to
It's like on the top.
Come on now.
See?
Sweet Paradise, is that sweet? I know it's liquor, but I don't drink, so I don't know what that tastes
Yes,
like.
it's sweet.
You know, it tastes like a mountain of sugar and then like and rubbing alcohol. That's what it tastes like, Ameerah.
It's not.
A bucket of sugar and then throw some rubbing alcohol on the top of it, and that's what she drinking with some coffee.
No.
It's like alcoholic creamer. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like peach
Yeah,
vanilla.
it's a little edge to it. It's all good.
See?
Maybe a
Why
little
not
less
be
than
that
bubbly.
way. Right? So I say all that to let the people know who used to come on third Fridays, and we used to come with our wine and such and things like that, that it doesn't matter what you're sipping on. It could be water. Crystl, did I see you with water? I saw somebody put a water bottle up.
Oh, yeah, I got water. That's me.
Yes. It could
It
be
blends in with my
water.
background.
Poets, water's good for you.
I got water too.
Dujuana,
Good for your skin.
I'm gonna follow it up.
I almost knocked
To
it over.
flush it all out.
Yes. So we sipping and we speaking. Say that again, Dujuana.
You need to keep drinking. It looks very, it's not even halfway empty.
You wasn't supposed to see all of that. It's okay. It's close. It's close enough, right? But moving right along. The next poet, and I'm going to say on the open mic, don't you miss hearing that?
Oh, yeah.
The next poet on the open mic is Miss Paige herself. Yes. She's going to give us her little introduction and then, answer our questions.
All right, got you. I don't know. I was really indecisive tonight, so I don't know what to read. I feel like I've been doing so much poetry readings, and a lot of us travel in the same circle. So I'm like, I feel like I can't read. I mean, I could read a similar one, but I'm going to go back and read one from last year, but I wrote it in January, so it kind of fits the whole New Year's theme. But I want to answer these questions. I started writing poetry when I was in 7th grade, and I've always been a bit of a rebel rouser. So by high school, I had been to the guidance counselor more than 100 times about my poetry and my journals and all the things I was writing. It was like a frequent flyer. Who put you up to this? And I'm like, nobody. Like the voices in my head, just kidding. It's one of those. So by high school, I became the editor of the literary magazine. And the advisor was also a rebel. In fact, our logo had in French written around the outside that education is a joke, like you learn more from life. It was in French. So the principal never knew it. He was very conservative. So I'll never forget that my first poem, I can't even remember what it was, but I do remember we had this centerfold of the literary magazine. We had a featured poet. And I remember the first time I was featured, I was so excited about it. But what I found out is that the principal called the advisor, my English teacher, down to the office and was like, what is wrong with this girl? And had marked up all of my poems. So I had heard through the grapevine that this had occurred. And I snuck into my English teacher's top drawer of his desk and I saw the comments that my principal wrote on my poems. And all it did was inspire me to be even more risque because I was like, hey, if I'm upsetting him, then I must be doing something right. So yeah, I really do miss teaching in middle school because of that reason. I feel like a lot of children, their creativity is shut down because they make adults uncomfortable, but adults need to be uncomfortable. Enough of this testing and turning out kids that can't think for themselves and only spew back what we've already spoon fed them. So viva la revolution. That's how I feel about that. So here's my poem. This poem is about someone who has been, I met him back when I was 18 at Rutgers. I knew him for a year. He disappeared from my life and showed up again 25 something years later. And I've been writing poetry. He keeps coming in and out of my life now, back and forth. So I have a lot of poems about him. So this one is about, if you could imagine the picture of a beach, how it has all those different, depending on how the wind is blowing or whatever, but just imagine all the little pebble marks, pock marks all over the beach in the winter. The beach holds the map of how you've imprinted my life this year. I've always been one who enjoys collecting and analyzing data more than, say, long walks on the beach. But you didn't answer my ad in the personals. We were never on a date. Instead, we had moments that drop from the sky like raindrops or hail, or sometimes bombs from calculating fighter planes. As you can see, there was no clear trajectory to guide our journey through time and space, just this constellation of stars that reads more like TV static than connect the dots. But true to what I've previously stated, I find comfort and joy in making connections. Finding patterns in the array, I swear I was born this way, scrambling as a toddler to collect and line up Cheerios along the seams of the squares of cheap linoleum, while everyone wondered what the hell I was doing. It was no different today. New Year's Day morning, when I returned to the scene of the crime, even though the only crime committed was by my overactive imagination and ridiculous determination to make sense of it all. There I was in the freezing cold wind, inappropriately dressed for the weather yet again, but without you to sigh and to offer me some space in your terribly appropriate warm winter coat. I stood there on the boardwalk, like a pebble dropped in the sand, while strangers followed paths laid out by their resolutions to get more exercise, while strangers more religious in their commitments had been walking those same paths for years. There I stood, amongst the trails of people, moving like ants on a mission, the only one not moving, the only one without gloves, the only one in no hurry, the only one without pep in her step. I stood there, not looking at the sea stretched out so beautifully across from me. I stood looking down, marveling at how a year of emotion can look when scattered on the ground, before a new year comes like wind and smooths it all out again. Imagine all the generations of impressions made on just one stretch of sand. The beach holds the map of how humans imprint life over time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paige. That reminded me of Footprints in the Sand.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's what
I think
have
about that a lot. Like all the imprints that are made and then they're washed away and then it happens again. And I think about our homes that way too. You know, like when I bought my home, I bought it from a man who was 90 something years old and he had built it himself and engineered it and everything. And to just think about how a whole entire family lived here and now are gone and off in their world. And now we are living here, but the house is still the same house. It's really amazing to think about that they're actually, the things we make are outliving us.
Wow.
What?
How deep was that, Miss Paige? Okay, now.
I like we had moments drop from the sky. It's almost like if you sit on a beach and you watch the tide go in and out, and each one is representative of a moment, a thing, and we understand that it's fleeting. Like nothing is gonna stay the same. It's gonna go and come, like your life, up and down, that kind of thing.
Right. Except I'm going to be the one sitting there with a stick trying to connect every single dot. Like, no, water, stop. I'm trying to figure this out. People are always saying to me, why don't you just let it go? Could you just let it go? And I'm like, clearly I cannot. I'm going to go write 150 poems about it and I'll be back on Zoom next week.
Well, that's good.
And the one thing about life is the only constant is change. So that's just every moment, from one moment to the next, it could be different, and it is different.
Yeah, so true. Well, thank you so much.
I like that line that you said something like the pattern in the array.
Yes.
And I just think of the patterns of life that we find ourselves going through, you know, too as well. I know you probably didn't mean that, but
no, I
you
definitely
did. Oh,
did.
you did?
Like,
okay, good.
All the dots, and I just imagine like connect the dots. Like I'm always trying to connect the dots that don't connect. And I'm like, it meant this, and when he said this, I think he meant this, and he was like, no, I just meant that. Actually, that's all I was saying. You know, it's like, yeah, but when I put it in my poem, it sounds so much better. Like it sounds like you love me. Didn't you say I have another poem I wrote where it was just like, well, he said this. He said I have to go, but what I heard was I love you. I just make up my own stuff.
It's the poet. I think it's the poet in us, right?
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
That
why
does
stick
that.
with reality when we can make it so much more pretty?
Yes, and I think that going on what each one of you said, I think is important for us to just sit in the moment, right? To not. You know, I do the same thing you just said, Paige. I do the same exact thing. And I learned that, especially after my battle with cancer, right? Without changing the mood, because, you know, I'm good, right? So, right? That right, we're good, right? So that those moments are very important. And if I only sat in the moment as opposed to dissecting the moment, I would actually treasure, appreciate, and remember those moments in ways that I might have missed, right? So then it brings me back to, because I am a mom, what was it? Inside Out, if anybody saw that, right? I don't watch cartoons, but that one was amazing. And they talk about our core memories. And it sounds like what you were saying, Paige, she was dropping them and they were like, don't drop them, right? Right? But it's your core memories. And no matter what happens, those things will always come back. They're stored in a special place. Like that cartoon was profound. So, you know, I'm like, you know, just those moments, if I could say nothing else today, it would be to cherish those moments, especially now. Like we don't get a lot of them. And when we do have them, just, you know, just sit in it for a while, sit there. Right.
Yeah. And you know, when people do, when we get to connect with people, like it doesn't matter what it becomes, you know, sometimes like, can you just enjoy those moments you have with the person, whether it's one night or 5 minutes or, you know, anything like that, because as we know, I mean, we've had relationships that last years and then those too fall apart. So it's like, you know, just appreciate whatever time you have. Raymond.
Exactly.
He writes one night though.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm gonna need Raymond to tell him to unmute himself. Like I need him to say that. Like say it out loud, Raymond. Hey dear guys, how you doing? Welcome. So what you say, Raymond? I ain't even gonna read it. Tell me what you said.
Yeah, because he's talking trash about me. I said, we're not even hosting the show together, and he's already throwing it.
You know he can't help it. You know
Look at him. He can't find his mute button all of a sudden. Look at him.
Oh, he's drinking water. Oh, he's sipping. He's sipping, so he can't speak at the moment.
Right. He's gonna drink until you leave him alone.
Yes. So, Daz is with us. So welcome aboard. Welcome. And we're gonna jump right back into more poetry. And next up, we have the beautiful Kali the poet. So she's going to introduce herself. She's going to answer those questions. And she's going to share with us a poem. It's all yours.
Hey, everybody. I'm so glad to be here with all of y'all amazing poets. My name is Kali the poet. And by day, I am a recovery coach working in Atlantic County Justice Facility. By night, I am a poet and I love writing poetry. I think the questions are, when did you start writing and if you still perform your first poem? Okay. So I don't remember the name of my first poem because I've been writing as long as I could hold a pen. And I always tell the story that even before I actually knew how to write, for a long time I kept pages. I would just scribble and it was nothing. They weren't even words, but I just loved the feel of writing with the pen. So I've been writing as long as I could hold a pen. And I don't still perform that first poem because unfortunately I don't even have it anymore, even if I could remember what the name of it was. Did I hit them all? Okay. All right, I see some people nodding their heads, so I guess I got them. So the poem that I'm gonna read today is the second part of a 2-part poem. I did an event with Raymond, who's getting in trouble tonight, but he was awesome the other day. He was awesome the other day when he interviewed me, and I did a poem called Genesis, Beauty and the Beast, and I performed the first part, which is basically beauty. So this is the second part, and I have a short intro to it just to kind of explain it a little bit, because in it I talk about 666. And I wanted to explain it just so we're clear on what I mean when I say it. So first, carbon is one of the most abundant elements in the human body. Carbon-12 is the most abundant type of carbon in the human body. And carbon-12 plays a significant role in the production of melanin. This specific type of melanin that is our skin color, because there's two types, but this melanin carbon-12 plays a part in. And it takes 18 carbon-12 atoms to create the eumelanin, which is skin melanin, of the skin. The atomic makeup of carbon-12 is 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons, or 666. So in this poem, I play on the duality of 666 representing the very existence of melanated individuals, and at the same time, a representation of the mark of the beast. And it's also an ode to the struggle of Black men. So here we go with Genesis. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. 666, they say, is an AKA for a beast who deserves damnation. So please excuse this tragic experience you are having. You were never supposed to be recognized as a human being here. That's why you still aren't treated like one. After all, you're only acknowledged when your actions coincide with their preconceived notions of you. Black boy, invisible, until it's time to make a sacrifice of your species again. Funny how the hunter can set the trap and slaughter his prey and still label the dead the killer. They are cannibals who make meals of righteous men, hunted, shot, hung, ripped open, and ripped apart until the pain is too unbearable to remain holy. You've been classified as a born sinner by those who sin against you. Traumatized into perceiving yourself as your own worst nightmare. You identify your brothers as your enemy because they are the spitting mirror image of you. How ironic. The noose is psychological now. So deprived of love and compassion, you succumb to the idea that you are no longer sacred, and before long, consuming everything you once consecrated. Your misdirected vengeance is exploited to vilify you, even though everyone knows any man becomes ferocious when he's been hungry for far too long. But your rage is running so scarlet that you can't see your blood on their hands. They are painting the town and the prison walls red with you. A savage force of saving grace, you've forgotten how it feels to fly free. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. A fallen saint still holding the heat of heaven. No wonder you work so hard to leave your mark on this world. They've been trying so hard to erase you from it. Carbon-based, brown sugar, Black man, how they hate your flesh. Emblazoned by stardust, your melanin sparkles like cosmic quasars. Your skin absorbs the sun smooth like summer. You radiate from the inside. You are the physical representation of multidimensional redemption. Your very existence is a constant reminder that the chosen ones can't be conquered, but oh, how you suffer. A Sar of this ghetto. The forgotten Orisha of this underworld, this jungle of succubi and snakes and wolves with horns in the shadows of your subconscious. Emotionally abandoned by mother whose heart is too broken to shield yours from shattering, and father who is too afraid to be the man you are destined to become. You breathe because you are the key to eternal immortality. The blueprint for infinity survives in your seed, Black man. You have to remember who you are because this place would rather you forget. Your soul sings the song of your ancestor. There are warrior drums pounding in your cells. Let the beat bring you back to yourself. They can't change your fate. They just change your name. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. Make a devil of a deity, make black like poison, make carbon like coal, and burn a hell hot enough to make God forget who he is, the mark of a man-made contradiction. Your living threatens the fabric of these man-made religions. How can God be on his way back when he's been here since the beginning? Your first orgasm produced elements powerful enough to feed the tree of life that still bears fruit. Can't you see the truth? They're terrified of what you'll conceive from your second coming. And they're preparing the wooden crosses to hang you from them. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. Make a villain of divinity. Make his soul cold enough to consume so they can devour your destiny. Or sets could heal a man separated from himself by speaking the name of God. That name is yours. And the only way to fix your fractured spirit is to bear your bruised chest to love. Your strength is found in your ability to cherish someone else's heart. That's why you've been manipulated into damaging so many in the hopes that you would kill yourself in the process. But who punishes the suicidal savior? No one but himself. 6, 6, 6. You weren't born to be a beast. You were born to be the king of kings disguised as a brave Black man. Thank you.
What?
Wow.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Wow.
Speak, poet, speak.
You're gonna make James have a heart attack.
I done died twice in that piece. Oh my God.
Wow.
Jay said, I done died twice.
You know what, Kali? Oh my God. Like where do you find these words? Like where? Like,
I don't know. Sometimes they say that our curses can become our blessings. So I guess the things that I've been through has allowed my brain to think in a way that that is a little different.
Yeah.
But these two, because the first part was for women and the second part was about men. This is a culmination of how I express what I feel through what I see in the world today. And a lot of times there's anger because we don't recognize just how important we are to the world, and on a bigger scale than just the gifts that we have to give. Just our being here is a blessing to this world. And this is what I see, especially for Black men, because Black men, you know, a lot of times they're raised and they're taught through society that they have to be tough, they have to be men, they have to be this. And it's like there's a whole other part of men that needs to be appreciated and needs to be expressed. And a lot of times I hear from men like the it's a blessing to hear praise from women. Because a lot of times we put a lot of pressure on y'all, and it's because of the things that we go through as women too. And I recognize that too. That's why the first part of the poem is for women, because we're just as important. But like I told Raymond before, together we matter, right? Like the role that I play is different than the role that you play, and that's why we're here to do it together. So I need men to know that you are, especially my Black man, my melanated man, you need to know that you are very needed, you are very precious, and you are this world is very blessed to have you here. So please keep doing the work that you do.
Thank you.
Received.
That whole thing was poetic. Even the way you, like, it's natural. It just exudes from you. Even the way you began to speak about, you know, what it is and how the things that you've been through shape the way that you write and the way that you think, probably the way that you move, everything about you. And then to even close off, I had to write it down so I wouldn't interrupt when you said, together we matter. Like that was the symbolism after you just said 6 protons, 6 neutrons, like together. There's a part 1, there's a part 2. But when you bring those two beings together, we matter. And I've heard the first part. So, you know, maybe in our second round, you'll bless us with that, because now everybody's probably wondering, so if that's the second part, what is the first part like? Right? But to bring those two together and say that you matter, not just you matter, like everything that you just spoke in your poem matter when you say 6 protons, 6 neutrons. Like, I'm gonna be quiet because Dujuana, her mic is off too, so I know. Just chime in, go Raymond. I see James again. Let's just chime in, poets.
Go ahead. I'll just go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean,
I'll say this.
what else to say, man? She bring the fire.
It's consistent. That's what we can say. It's consistent and it's deep, thought provoking. It's heart touching. It's all of those things. You know, like I just put in the chat, the live chat. Callie is the poet. Let's just put it that way. Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
I agree. Emphasis on the poet. And I always feel starstruck because like I've had the pleasure of meeting her in real life too. So I'm really excited for the market season to come back, and you know, maybe some of y'all come down to Atlantic City and come check it out. Maybe we could do a poetry farmers market. What do you think? Just set it up.
Sounds
I know
good.
a DJ. I don't know if he's any good, but we'll see what happens.
Really?
So Kelly, I felt your soul in that. I felt your soul when you read it. I saw your spirit. I felt your pain. I seen your heart. I seen it all. You released your spirituality, and it done hit everybody that is watching this on Facebook, on Twitter. I don't know where the fuck. But I know I felt you. I had my camera off and I had to turn it back on. I was like, what the fuck is happening in here? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not, this is for adults only. So if you're 13 and below, get your ass out of here. All right. So Callie, blessings to you. I felt that. I felt that. Thank you for that.
I gave you your name already. You're the Octavia Butler of poetry. Wow. For real. And I'm gonna put you on the spot. When we gonna collaborate? Because I would love to write with you.
What? I am so down for that. Just let me know. I mean, what you need to know for us to start this.
Oh, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Absolutely. So real quick before you go on, I just want to thank everybody, because you don't always recognize when people get on, especially when we're not able to share energy face to face, you don't always recognize how impactful things like this can be for somebody. So I just want you to know, like, it's to the point that regardless of what else is going on, I run to my computer when events are going on, because this has saved me in more ways than one. And I don't want to get emotional, but I am so grateful to you guys, and I'm definitely grateful to all of the words that you expressed for me tonight. It means the world. So thank you.
Make sure you drop your contact information. If you don't already have each other's contact information, you could drop it in this chat, but I would prefer if you did it on the live feed, so that way anybody that's watching could also be able to network and to add you to their social media platforms as well. And I have to say before we move on, it's your delivery as well, Callie. So like, your words are profound and they hit deep, but it's your delivery of your work that also, like, it just resonates and it gets all the way deep down in there. And I knew before Ameerah said, James, don't you start waking out, right? I was dying, because literally all I could see is, while you're speaking, right, is the cover of his book, right? So James, unmute yourself. What's the name of your book? Tell everybody, right?
Beyond the Event Horizon. Yeah, Beyond the Event Horizon.
And when you see the cover, it'll connect for you. But like, as Ameerah was saying, don't wig out, I knew exactly why. Like, I'm like, this is amazing. So thank you again. And we're gonna keep it moving. I'm gonna give you my questions again, but we're gonna keep it moving right along. Dujuana is gonna share with us. I haven't heard Dujuana do poetry. I've seen it. Look, is that a mic? Is that a mic I see, Dujuana?
Oh, oops.
Oh, yeah. I'll put that right back. I'm
Oops.
loving it.
No. I'm just happy to see you, Paradise. That's not a mic.
Look, you got me dropping stuff.
I didn't know that we had a celebrity in the room. Somebody looking like Rakim up in here. I ain't saying no names though.
Everybody, this is Dujuana. Now you see.
I'm like, his name is Daz or Rakim. I'm like, what? What? You brought me all the way back, old school, son. Okay, just seeing your face.
That's a first. That's a first.
Beautiful man. Beautiful, because people don't know what they talking about. Anyway, hi everybody. Everybody here.
The floor is yours,
Dujuana. What's going on? You sitting on the toilet and in the car? How you doing? I am I've been writing since I don't know, when I remember 5th grade writing this poem about a gentleman, and I remember having a rhyme scheme then, and I couldn't quite shake the rhyme scheme, even though I tried to switch up and change up my stuff. I just couldn't do it. So I've been writing then. The first poem that I remembered that poem because I don't know why, I just do something about a gentleman or whatever. But I remember writing for a slam, and I remember writing and I not knowing what slam really was. I was interested in it and I did it. So I went and I wrote this poem called Inhale, Inhale Me. And I used to, when I was featured, I would incorporate Inhale in my performance. I used to do it how I did it then. And I stood up with, it was like an 8-line poem and I was reading it. I was like, and my hands were shaking. And then I kind of grew into a performer. So it was like, I inhale you. And then it's like, I you. And so then I would go into the whole poem and stuff like that. And now I need my pump because that was just too much breathing. All right, so you know what? This is this Corona thing is a mother effer teaching you, me, not you, but me as a performer and a person to tap into the energy that I cannot feel through applause, right? That I have to like focus in on faces, and then I can't focus on y'all's faces, right? When I'm performing, because then it'll throw me off. And if somebody looks like this, and if somebody be like, you know what? And somebody like, I'm hungry, you know, you just like, when is shit ending? I'm tired, you know. So it's so difficult. And so I find more skills that I need to sharpen and concentrate and focus. So I'm gonna do a piece today. I hope I answered the questions. If I didn't, then I owe you like I owe the rest of the bill collectors. I wrote this piece when the things were happening, when the people exploded onto the streets, when the people joined together and was all disgusted together, because we've been disgusted. We've been disgusted a lot. So I wrote this piece about us exploding onto the streets and saying, well, you guys made it here, our other counterparts. Thank y'all for finally coming. So this piece is about that, explaining to the people who we are. And we are the people. We are ministers of mighty energies. We are mothers and mom dukes. We are misters, we are majestic men of melanin, we are women of wisdom. We are teachers, Buddha chanter believers. We are dudes, dames, lovers of likes, clicks, and fames. We are janitors, facilitators, rhythm beat builders, architects, cashiers, stylists, barbers. We are Cash App consultants and zombie-loving mutants. We are titans and bricklayers and hustlers and autobiography makers. And we are writers and we are riders. But we tired of dying. Our sacrificial brothers have been feeding the concrete. Death by blue hands have been filling our generation gaps with struggles and dead bodies. We are recycling wizardry, kung fu, tai chi, black master. We cannot rewrite our history. They have chased our peace from Africa to occupy space in this aftermath of genocide, homicide, and suicide called America. We are masters of weaving in and out of systemic racial injustice. We are captains. We are corporals. We are lieutenants. We are criminals. We are convicts. And yo, son, they didn't do it. And shout out to the Freedom Project. Thank you so much, Freedom Project, for believing that freedom was more than just a concept. We are prisoners of war. And our casualties are still counting and still counting and still counting. The CIA turned a blind eye when the cocaine was abundantly supplied and millions of us died. So now they call you crackhead, tweaker, junkie, dope fiend. But it was an epidemic when the Karens started ODing on the heroin. It was an epidemic when the Karens started ODing on the heroin. We are housekeepers, housemen, housing activists. We are butlers and maids. We are lawyers. We are lenders. We are bankers. But those butcher flame haters ignited our churches, and the butcher flame haters ignited our homes, and the butcher flame haters ignited our souls. And then they had boundaries that were orchestrated. So I guess cities without tampons bleed red lines on Black faces. We are urban farmers, urban developers, street sweepers, street salesmen, bean pie. Yo, come get that bean pie. Final call for alcohol. Yo, frying pan handling man, can you spare me $1 for some blame? Why they over there power washing our agents and power washing our protests to dissolve our agents of change? We are socialism, activism, power to the people, poison in the system. We were disregarded when judiciary policies were written. We were disregarded when corporate policies were written. Educators, we're artists, we're life coaches, we're fathers. We were disregarded in education. And the company you work in resembles slave operations. There's many on the assembly line. There's few in middle management, but executive and above, that makes up less than 1%. We are accountants, clerks, masseuse, nurse. We are doctors. We're daughters. We are dentists. You know they tried to tuck and hide us in plain view. They tried to tuck and hide us in plain view so we wouldn't get ahead of what they do. And now, this earth, the earth's belly is filled with the souls of our men and our women. The earth's belly is filled with our brothers and our sisters. The earth's soul is filled with our daughters and our grandmothers. The earth's belly is filled with our ancestors. And I'm exasperated and I'm exhausted. And this shit just got to end. So you know what we gonna do? We gonna disturb your peace. We gonna flood the streets. We gonna stomp on each and every level of these burial grounds. We gonna shout on each and every level of these burial grounds. We gonna sing on each and every level of these burial grounds until you rewrite the bigotry that bled us out. Well, good morning, America. Thanks for finally waking up. We are the people. We have been the people. Power to my people. Thank y'all.
Woo! You always set my soul on fire, Dujuana.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is Dujuana Sharese.
Yes, poet.
Oh, Dujuana.
Sister, I miss you. I miss you. I
Yes.
miss you. Oh my God, I miss you.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay, so
Mm.
like art, when I say like the art of paradise, art stands for authentic, raw talent. Everybody here has definitely exuded that. Dujuana, from the day I met you, like authentic, raw talent. Like you said so much just now, right? So much. Like I was watching everybody faces. I'm gonna be quiet and let the other poets come. Let them speak, and then I'll be back. I'll be back. But I see Kali. She has her mic unmuted. I see James' mic unmuted. If you got something to say, just go ahead, unmute yourself and share.
I love the whole thing from like beginning to end, but the two parts stuck out the most for me, and that was they chased us from Africa to occupy this space here. And it was basically like, why? Why? Just for torture. And the whole emotion that you express with that, and then rewrite the bigotry that bled us out. That is the line that is going to stick with me. For I might have to like write something off of that. Just rewrite all of these things that caused us our terror, that caused us our pain and our bodies and our lives. Like you, girl.
Thank you.
I can't even talk right now.
Look, Dujuana, you David Walker that piece. If you know what I'm talking about, you David Walker that piece. You like that just woke up a fire in me. And I'll probably be writing too tonight. So thank you. Thank you for that. That was needed. That was needed.
Thank you.
Dujuana, yes. Genocide, homicide, suicide, America.
Yeah.
I almost fell on the floor. I was like, that's everything I ever thought in my heart about this whole situation. And I think I might be the oldest one in this room. I lived every last single bit of that. That line is the one that resonated for me. Thank you, Dujuana. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Dujuana, I just wanted to hop in and say, like, I've got to see you grow with that piece, because when we were working together in IFC, like, and seeing, having that visual background with the video that you had in the background is just, and seeing it now and seeing how the way that you read it just flies off the paper. And one of the things that I have to say is, like, your poetry, the way that you read, you inspire me to just kind of say what I have to say and not have that fear of what people are going to think about me, because I know that, like, I'm obviously in a room with poets who have been writing a hell of a lot longer than me, and hearing your pieces and hearing all the pieces tonight has just been amazing. So
the one thing that I have to say, that having performed with Dujuana, having gotten to know Dujuana over the last, I don't know, however long we know each other, Dujuana is unapologetically powerful, as is every poet here. But to say that she ignites a fire, yeah, absolutely. That she floors you, absolutely. That she is just a powerhouse beyond being a powerhouse. I'm like, it's like touching the heavens. It's like touching the heavens. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I can say without getting emotional.
Thank y'all. This was actually. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, girl. You got the floor.
I was. This is my first time. I feel that this is an intimate setting, even though this is on Facebook. But I just see you all. So the last couple of times that I did it, it was for audiences, and I'm still trying to slide this piece on so it fits me real good. And this was the most comfortable I felt performing this piece. It was because I'm all in my comfort zone. I can hear myself in my headphones and I don't have to just talk into the room. And so I just like, these are like my little linuses. So my little blankets. So I thank y'all for making the room and opening the space so that I felt comfortable in performing it the way it happened. Thank you.
I just want to say you are definitely the type of poet that commands attention just in how you present and what you have to say. Um, and everybody here is a wonderful poet that does the same. But sometimes poets they say something and it's like, oh, that was nice. You were like everybody. I saw, and I'm looking at everybody, and they're all like, because you command that attention with what you say and how you present. Like you're an amazing poet.
I agree wholeheartedly. Your delivery, I mean, it's like, it's one of the things you can't, you can't teach. You can like, aspire and you can work towards it, but it comes from your soul, and it's so obvious and natural and beautiful. And yeah, I agree with what you're saying too about how, like, even though we're separated in these like bizarre like Hollywood squares, like it is very intimate, and like, it's like you're on your own, but you're with a group of people that like, they feel the same way. It's not like stepping onto a stage as a stand-up comedian and you're like, all right, rough crowd tonight, like,
Right.
hi, like
Right.
I'm gonna do something. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate that. Y'all getting me emotional because sometimes, you question yourself and your work, but it's okay to say this work in front of people who are not poets. Y'all are the poets and shit. So I'm like, oh no, they're gonna judge me. My Lord. Yeah.
Family, yo, you among family.
Yeah.
You're among family.
I'm among family and Rakim. Word, Rakim in the corner.
Rakim. I'm gonna call Dad that all the time. Like I miss you so much. And just hearing you do your poem, I'm just like, dang, like I remember you being like that at the Cypher movement. It's so many things I wrote down, but I am gonna share this about Dujuana. I said like the Cypher movement, we used to be there. This is before we were streaming live, that we used to go to Jersey City. And Dujuana was one of the first people to ever ask me to host her show. And I remember saying, I don't host. And she said, yes, you do. And she said, just be you. And it's funny because I spoke to someone from around that time, and I haven't spoken to him in 15 years. And he said, I remember when you were doing poetry. And he said, you weren't doing it the way you're doing it now. You were like just starting out. And I remember it was at Jordan's, and it was the Cypher movement, and it was with Dujuana. And I was like, I don't host. And she was like, yes, you do. But back to like your poem, I wrote down a couple of things. I'm like, she started out by said, thank you for finally coming. And I'm like, yes, like if we didn't all, when we saw it, there was so much, there was greatness, and there was camaraderie, there was support, there was love for the same cause and the same purpose. But yes, I found myself saying the same thing. Thank you for finally coming. Thank you for showing up. And then some of the lines we saw, but I like the part where you said it was an epidemic. It was an epidemic when Cameron started ODing, right? I saw everybody nod, and I'm like,
yeah, it was, it was an epidemic then. We don't care that crack killed the half a nation. We don't give a shit. But oh my God, they're on heroin. They're doing those opioids. We must do something. And now, if everybody in this box goes to the hospital and has a surgery, they barely give you a damn pill to take the pain away from you because Karen started ODing on heroin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I could have said that. When I moved to South Jersey, it's the first time I saw a commercial about opioids. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm from Jersey City. Like, we don't have them commercials up there. Like now you got the mayor on TV, the governor saying like we gotta fix this problem. But y'all wasn't trying to fix it when I was growing up. I'm like, how is this a problem? This been a problem. Y'all broadcasting this like this is new news. But I'm like, okay. And I'm going to say to Dujuana and everybody who has already performed, right, before we do our round two, but Daz is going to jump in and Crystal's going to jump in before we go to round two. But I just want to say thank you. Like when Dujuana said, you know, she felt comfortable, and when I heard Rescue say this is a family, like to every last one of you on this platform, I just want to say that, and when Dujuana said she feels comfortable enough performing the way she did, I want to say thank you for feeling comfortable enough to perform the way you did tonight. Thank you for allowing this space to be a platform where you feel that comfort. Like, I know a lot of people don't know, like, our other side where we're comedians and we just have our outbursts. And I feel like we're doing that tonight. Everybody, just unmute yourselves, share. We need that feedback because of what Dujuana said. We don't get that energy. And when I used to step to the mic, I would always, as a hostess, I would say, what you give the artist, when you give it to us, we're going to give it right back to you. So before we jump into Crustl, right, I also want to say, I've been battling with this Zoom thing. Like I told some of you before we went live, right? And then I had a conversation with Daz the poet, and I'm like, I can't do Zoom. Like, they Zoom me to death Monday through Friday. But what was missing for me in the Facebook, just going live and trying to pull people in to the live, which was glitchy at all times, is this: the conversation, the ability to connect, to allow other artists, like, to the point that I'm even considering having special guests, which means that some of the audience members that always show up and watch us, to allow them to come and be a part of this. So we're not having to do what we're doing now and then speak to them in the chat or speak to them over here, but they get to connect with us as well and share how our work is touching them. So thank you, everyone. And without further ado, we got Crustl. We got Crustl coming up. Crustl, I heard Crustl before on a different platform, and I want to say it was Paige and Raymond, I think, right? But I'm gonna allow her to introduce herself and then share the question. I'm gonna go through the questions because I know Daz wasn't here, and he's up next. So we want to know, how did you come to love poetry, or have a passion for poetry, or become a writer, a poet? And then, do you remember the name of your very first poem? And if so, well, did you like it? I forgot to ask you guys that, but we could circle back, right? Did you like it, right? And do you still perform it? So I'm gonna mute and give the floor to Crustl Letters, everyone.
Well, first off, I just want to say thank you again for having me here. It's been an absolute honor to hear everybody read, and it's a blessing. I think COVID has been kind of like a blessing in disguise, because it's been able, or well, I've been able to connect with artists from all over the world, and artists that were in my backyard that I didn't even know existed. And just by saying, like, you're an amazing host is probably not like the only thing that I can say, because you made this space so comfortable and so loving. But then so have all the other poets here. And I feel that poets, for me, have been the most supportive group of people that I've ever met in my entire life. And in terms of how I started as a writer, I think I've been writing from when I was a kid. I've got like small poems that I don't even remember. And then I started performing, I think it was like back in like 2014 or 2013. And then I had a really traumatic breakup when I was just like getting out of college. And I wrote and performed. I was performing in like small open mics here and there, but it wasn't like, it was my opportunity to kind of show off my writing, but I wasn't doing it as a full passion at that time, because I was confused. I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I'm a visual artist and then I'm a poetic artist. So I found, as time has passed, like, this is what I do. I can share both things and not feel ashamed about what I have to share. Like, the artwork behind me, that's my stuff. And, when it came to my first poem, I'm going to share this one later, and I have a reason behind it, because I want you to kind of get a feel of how I've grown. So the one that I'm going to share first is Inspirationist, and I wanted to read this one specifically because Dujuana is here tonight, and so is Rescue, and you're both like two of the biggest inspirations in my life right now when it comes to poetry. And I'm working on my first book, and this is one of the poems from the book. So I'm just gonna jump right in. Inspirationist. Words whistle through my fingers like breezes across treetops, along branches, through waltz, leaves of grass with Dr. Westman, and multiplied colorful quills that painted words like Frida Kahlo's eyelashes as I learned of vertigo with Anne Wallace, balancing the scales of nostalgic pleasure and prescribed pain. We wound down Dolly's melting clocks, each word dripping down Neruda's perspiring glasses. We listened to Dave's Ho'oponopono serenade. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Words wind out of me like Trigonis's roads and bridges, gritty, raw, train tracks, in subway systems, with butter-rolled tight syllables. My words remember standing at bus stops with J.C. Massett. A bronze statue of La Nancy stands mightily beneath lucky pigeon shit. La Boriqueña! Running marathons over obstacles of paragraphs and performance art. And I sat here, waiting to forget the way that your words washed over me like rosemary and Florida water across hardwood floors that had that wax on, wax off, Mr. Miyagi style shine. My eyes glazed just before they shuttered, Jushin and fresh donuts, sweet visions encased behind pastry glass. I thought of the weight of my words, and I measured their strength. Atlas weighed upon my shoulder. Some made me light, some heavy. Emotions rumbled deep within my belly, and rescue appeared mid-sentence, just long enough so I could regain the flow and breath of your breadcrumb memories along the path less taken. I imagine you here writing with me. Your words surround my nostrils like savory fragrances, an abstract cacophony of culinary elegance as you sift your words over my earlobes like garlic powder maracas, onion cymbals, adobo snares, amongst cheese, maybe with an el barrio. You didn't stop at basil or sun-dried tomatoes before giving me the cooking rhythm and giving it a bit of your own. I watched you write your recipe on parchment paper as your fingers broke apart thin ramen noodles boiling on stovetop. You poured glasses of Romeo's whiskey. The fire of your human soul burns brightly as we stoke the flames. Dujuana breathes light into the palms of her empty hands. She spits sparks and embers that sizzle like the sound of Orisha whispers, showering us in Oshun's ocean and sea foam. Catalina creates soft cover memories of light bulbs and stars and flowers and Titus, and she continues to inspire me. I read the sadness that you've collected along the way. Mega spoke ripples after skipping stones across silent lakes, water undulated under lily pads and fallen under tree trunks, and her work crossed beyond county, beyond country, beyond ozone. Trouts jumped over waterfalls, moving forward swiftly, like weeds fill sidewalk cracks. I watched Rachel personify the loss of body parts, and I chuckled and said, hey, maybe one day I could write that way. Maybe one day I wouldn't be so nervous and remember my own lines, but I blame it on my short-term memory when I remember what you said to me 5 years ago. Maybe it's a Cancerian thing. Maybe my memory skips beats like VHS cassettes gone straight to DVD, bouncing from corner to corner after I've felt defeat on channel 3. I read better when things are on paper, and Teleno waded through water, reassuring my confidence in written word. Anxiety feels like stage fright, like I might not measure up, like I might not be enough. Enough to fill this jar of sugar, enough to sweeten the atmosphere, to drip molasses words like spilled ink over quilled paper. And just like that, summer left me with a jar of ice. I couldn't remember a day when I didn't recollect your poetic grandeur. Ariel blends vocals, movements, and rhythm. Infectious incitement carries over coffee table bookshelves with Lisa Colorado and lessons on herbs and colors and sandy and clay. They clutch it with their hands. The story that they tell you was not a walk in the park. You revealed bruises and darkness handed forward on a piece of your heart. Jenna removed fear from itself, exhilarating joy as you helped to prepare me for this journey. I watched you become free bubbles floating across the sky of cotton and golden blush. My forehead is blessed, and I appreciate knowing that I have found my way into your orbit, as you have helped to propel me to further understanding the plan for my cosmic purpose. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Work it, Crystl.
Wow.
So
Mm.
every reference that Crystl made in that poem is very personal to her. And there are artists that are here in Jersey City, visual artists, performing artists, literary artists, wearable art artists. And it's beautiful because it entails, it brings in the whole entire community, and it's a family poem. And it's amazing. Thank you for including me in that.
Thank you for being in my life.
Crystl, did you say while I was failing on channel 3?
Yeah. So, you know, that reference of us having like that old box TV.
Uh-huh. What's so powerful about that is because channel 3 was the channel that you would have to put on to connect to different devices, like gaming devices and stuff like. Oh my, you're bad.
I'm a gamer. I'm a Final Fantasy girl, so you know, it was just kind of like that reminder, and that part it specifically takes you through my ages in a way, because it's like I grew up on VHS, I grew up on CDs, I grew up on DVD. So like when we were in high school, most of the time they'd have the TV on in the corner of the room, and then you just see like the DVD floating around in the corner. So.
Oh, that was a bad line. Oh, that was a bad line.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You are an amazing poet, and I love the way that you weave visual in with your words. Like even the idea of giving food and seasoning sound and comparing them to instruments. Like I could meditate to that poem, or like I could listen to that while I'm trying to go to sleep. It would help me fall asleep. Like that was an absolute beautiful. And the fact that you reference people who are so important in your life, it was just a beautiful poem all the way around.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Dujuana, you going?
Yeah, I'm trying. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Crystl. Oh, okay. So anyway, Crystl, I love it when you say my name. Say my name, say my name. I ain't gonna fucking lie. Crystl, I like it when you say my name, girl. I like my name on your lips, baby. It feels good to me. And also the weight of my words, boom. The words sifted, boom. I'm like, come on with those action words. Come on with those verbs and those congregal visits with the words. I don't fucking know. Okay, Crystl, you you know I love you, baby. I love you. You are a quiet storm. You are so so quiet, and you have so much rumbling in you. I just think about the projects that we did together. I cherish you and I love you. I think that you are a cool ass motherfucker and a hot ass poet. I remember the first time I met you, you had green hair and shit. And I was like, oh, and you were like, hi, Dujuana. And I was like, oh, who's this lady? But you said my name with care and concern. Like you said my name like you knew me already. And I'll never forget that moment I think it was on West Side. You know, damn rescue be dragging me everywhere and shit. So it was when I met you, and to hear the words. I heard this poem before, but I didn't hear it like this. Because this space, I don't know about in my own fucking room, but this in my own home is feeling really comfortable, and I greatly appreciate it. You had a great many what are those analogies in that descriptions, and it was just great. And when you said a Spanish word, tumba,
Barrio.
Barrio. That's
right,
one of
right.
Rescue's
Barrio.
poems, actually.
Right, barrio. What'd you say?
That's one of Rescue's poems.
I know. When you say barrio, it made me think tumbao. What? Yeah. So, your words connected me to other poets and other words. So I love you, Crystl.
Love you
Oh,
too.
and can I say this, Crystal? This is sidebar that nobody need to know, but being a, and if Just Put is listening to this, remember when you went over there and you gave him that bag of that shirt that we supposed to wear? You know, he had me in a little tight shirt, and I looked like a sausage when I was out there. My belly was coming through, everything. I looked like a sausage, and I looked at his shirt, and he's skinnier than this, and it looked like a dress on him. I'm like, why you do me like that? And I said to him, how I look in my shirt? He said, girl, you know you look good. Don't you believe men? They just be bad.
That's a reference to an event we did called here in Jersey City called JCast, which is Jersey City Art
Studio tour.
Studio tour. Thank you. And we did as Open Road Poetry, because Crystl and I have a collaboration together, did Poetry in the Park, and Dujuana and Putt were hosts in one of the events. So needless to say, of course, they rocked each other. So, you know.
Straight up sausage. Son, I looked like I was busting through. You know, you ever make a hot dog or Frank or something like that, and you slice the middle, and it just that's what I look like. Thanks, Crystal, for giving. Just don't ever give a man a bag. Just, you know what? I would have met you somewhere. I was busting through it. I saw the pictures of that day. I was like, I need Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers all together. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
I'll get you the right shirt next time.
Crystal, I was just going to say that when you personalize a poem the way that you did, and you bring people into your words that have meaning and value and love in your heart, that poem not only belongs to you, but it belongs to them as well. So if you could have seen the faces as you mentioned things that were important to them in your poem, it was priceless. So it doesn't only belong to you, it belongs to them and whoever hears it. So that was a great job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ameerah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Crystal. I was going to say all those things, right? I wrote them down. And I'm like, the symbolism that you use, like Holly said, when you talked about the food, like, you know, I guess secretly I'm a foodie. So I'm like, ooh, rosemary. I'm like, ooh, ramen noodles, right? So I caught all those things, and I'm like, the butter roll type, right? I'm like, I must be hungry. But it's so colorful. I'm very visual. So as you said those lines, I could actually see them. I'm like, this is amazing. So, and then you said, giving me the cooking rhythm. For some reason, that line stood out for me. Because, you know, when people, they put passion when they cook, well, they should. And if they don't, I will probably caution you not to eat their food, right? So, but, and then when you say rhythm, so music has that's another one of my passions, music and dancing, as well as poetry. So for you to infuse all those things, I'm like, ooh, so I did jot that down. And I think what Dujuana said about you as far as A Quiet Storm was perfect. Like we all were like, right? So again, I say thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. You know, a lot of my poetry is I do a lot of romance poetry, but I've also found that since I've grown, I do a lot of spiritual growth, and then I hop back and forth between a lot of food poetry. So I'm always trying to make people hungry.
Well, thank you. My son is going to appreciate that. He'll be in soon to say, is the food ready? Right? So, but thank you so much. Look, this is exactly. He'll be in. I'll put money on it. But I'm not gonna. I'm not. Look, it's 6:44, and the show started at 4:44. Something about those numbers, right? So moving right ahead. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna give the stage to Daz the poet, and then because it was my fault, we're gonna have Ameerah share with us. And like, I mean, I'm over here writing down who's coming in and what order we're going in. That's why you see me put my head like this. I can't help it. It's the administrative assistant in me. I can't help it. I can't help it. I got pages on pages on pages too.
Hey, you want to, if you're ever looking for administrative assistant work, I could use lots of assistants.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Oh, great. That's, I mean, 23 years at the teachers union. So
Oh, wow. Very
I almost
nice.
do it in my sleep at this point.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah,
look at
for sure.
Dujuana. That's where I was at when I met you, Dujuana. I'm still there. I started when I was 18. I can't hear you, Dujuana. Did she just ask me how old I was? Because I think I just read her lips.
How old are you? What are you? Don't tell me you like 85. Come on, you know that good black don't crack. Come on, girl. Come on, girl.
I know. I want somebody to guess first, and it can't be Daz.
Somebody guessing, because then you're gonna get your feelings hurt. No, just tell
No,
me.
I'm not. I'm not, because you know.
You're 41.
You are right on point. I am
We're the same age.
Yes, I am 41.
See, I didn't want to say anything because you know me and Padex go way back.
Exactly. That's
So
why I said certain people can't say because they already know. Yep.
Well, wait, and Paige, what you mean y'all the same age? Y'all both look like babies.
I know, thank you. Because when she was,
I get that so much. People are like, those can't be all your kids. I'm like, who walks around and grabs extra kids just to make their day crazier? Like, yeah, they're mine. I was there. I remember the whole thing, actually.
Exactly.
More details? I can break it down for you.
It's hilarious.
Yes. Listen, my son said, technically, you are 42. I'm like, easy.
Slow your roll.
Yeah, like technically, I am 41. He was like, well, your birthday's in 2 months. Okay, well, easy. We're gonna get there. Don't be rushing.
Yeah, don't rush.
But yes, I'm 41. I started working for the teachers union at 18 in JEA.
In Newark? Are you in Newark?
I'm down here. See, Kali, Paige, Raymond.
I don't even know where everybody is.
But that's because I'm born and raised in Jersey City, right?
Oh, okay.
So I started in Jersey City, but I live in Egg Harbor City.
What? You're like up the road. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I'm from New York, but I taught in Newark for a year, and I was in New York City also. So yeah, very cool. I'm gonna be quiet because Daz is gonna fall asleep over there.
And I know,
look, no, he's still eating. He's been eating for like 2 hours.
He needs to stop eating. It's probably his nerves. But since we're talking about hometowns, what I will share about the next poet is that he's all the way from Atlanta. So here on this platform, so that's been the benefit of being able to do this pandemic thing via Zoom, because I'm like, you know, I probably wouldn't have hit the stage as soon as I have, you know, in Atlanta or been able to connect with him. And what I started to say about him before is that we had discussions about the platform. And he was like, you need to do the Zoom. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then I didn't do it, right? And he was like, you know, people like to engage and talk to each other. So here we are.
It was along the lines of what you were trying to do. Like, you got to do the Zoom. Like, it's one person at a time. It's not working.
Exactly. And the struggle was real the last show when I tried to pull him into the live. So I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to give him the floor. It took hours. But, you know, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you. And then do you have the questions about your first poem? How'd you come to poetry? Number one. And then do you remember the name of your very first poem? And do you still perform it?
Okay.
Or yours.
All right, let's see if I can backtrack. With a few things first. To Paige, like, I'm not falling asleep. Like, I just got back from work. I am hungry. And her poem made me go get some food when I was listening to Crustl. So I was like, I'm here listening to it in the kitchen, like, man, I can't wait to smack on this when I get back. Like, and then Dujuana, your poem was woo! Like the Dujuana! Like your shit was dope. Like I can't even fade it. It was so good. I was just sitting there. I had to close my eyes and just like, because the words just hit me. I'm like, okay. I couldn't even get up. Like that was to follow these guys is like, oh. But I'm gonna reel it back. My name is Shano or Shane, but I go by Daz. My IG handle, I think that's the word for it, is I am Daz And you should find me just like that. I don't think ain't nobody have the name like that, so we should be good. And you'll see the face. It's like this with a mic. So I mean, like you can't miss it. The beard is still there. So, um, my first piece. Wow. Um, I started back in 2016 when I separated from my wife, and I was forced out of my home away from my boys. So I was like in complete, just like I was broken. So and for a while I just couldn't get out of the funk. All friends close to me, they knew it, they saw it, like they tried. I was just like, you thought separating was the best idea to keep that intensity that you and her had to a minimum and not affect raising your kids. But then when it's like they're gone, it's like, oh. So I wrote a piece, and it was just me writing. I hadn't written anything for a while, just because of time. And when I wrote it, it was ooh. And the name of the piece is "I'm Tired of Being Alone." It was like, it was heartbreaking, like to wake up in a bed where it's usually full of a person and two kids. Now it was just like, you know, where's the little dust joints rolling by? Like there's nothing there but me. I'm still sleeping on the edge till this day. Like there's no point in having the rest of the bed. A twin would be good, but I'm gonna stick with what I got because it's nice. But I'm sorry. Ugh, I was outside in the cold today too. Like it's been a week. So, but I'm glad to be on the show. I missed it last time. I was so blown. I know she was like, man. So I was like, I gotta be here. I told my boss, like, yo, I gotta go at 4. Can it fly? So he says, okay, cool, that's bad. So now I'm here and I'm glad. So I'm going to do a personal piece that I wrote to a family member of mine about a relationship. And I don't know how many of you people watching or my fellow poets here on this Zoom call, like you had a friend or a family member who's in a relationship that is breaking them down, and you keep like just like trying to be happy for them, like, oh, it makes you happy, cool, but look at how it's doing you. And so I wrote this piece. I brought him aside as like, I wrote this and I just need you to hear it. And after, it's like weight lifted, just to let her know. I give that much detail. Piece is called Why. Situation dead, an open wound that bled, cut by hurtful words said. Why are you still holding on to it? Let go of that last thread that once loved, don't want to make amends, don't even want to break bread. So why you keep fighting? Why keep trying to hit the switch in the void where there's no need for lighting? Why keep looking for something that exists no more? Why keep trying to prove false sighting? Seeing false love continue to blind you is frightening, trying to force a spark where there's no sign of lightning. Why? Can you tell me? Can you tell me why you want to continue with this love that only brought pain? Tell me, what is there left to claim? Because all I see is what's left of your dignity and your shame. So why not just walk away? Why not refrain? Please just explain. And please don't say love, because that's that bogus-ish. You looking for a shooting star, but only a victim, so don't make a wish. Trying to make everyone else see a bucket while everyone is trying to make you see a miss. Incapable to be the driver of your own life, so let me just call you a lift. Before you try to drive over what you think is a rift, but your vision is blurred by this fake love, and it's no little crack. You're about to drive over a cliff. So why? What is the reason? Why keep swinging into love's abyss? Your heart can't breathe with all this weight. It cannot handle this pressure. Looking for something that you think is priceless, but you'll only find the opposite. There is no treasure. You only discover rocks. Then you'll be stuck between that and a hard place. Convincing yourself that you made the right choice, but that's a hard case. Convincing yourself that life is buoyant, but you're still in a dark place. Convincing yourself that you're winning in love, but in reality, you have lost the race. I mean, how can you be happy when there's always tears on your face? So why, huh? Tell me why. Don't you get it? Don't you comprehend that I am your family? That I am your friend? Always there to pick you up when love knocks you down? I'm here for you till the very end, so distracted by your quest to bring the toxic love back into your life. You failed to see how the aches and mind is consistent strife, wondering if I should be your shield or should I just let you fall back on your own knife? Wondering if hitting rock bottom will give you a different view. Will that suffice? Will that be adequate? Would that be enough to snap you out of it? For you to look up, and I guess you need to hit the ground a bit. To move on, you need to let your heart sink. So I'll let you cry and let it drown a bit. Then you'll feel that TLC from your FNFs, because that's where you get mounds of it. I mean, rebuild your heart with that kind of love. And don't worry, like I said, there's pounds of it. Feeling, finally being able to move on, seeking real love and be proud of it. No more wise and sad eyes, and only good sides and happy thighs. I mean, don't you like the sound of it? In peace. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's obviously a very personal piece, and I think extremely relatable to everyone. Kind of breaks you down to build you up instead of the other way around.
Mhm.
So that's very impactful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's especially important to me because people who come to the venues that I host, a recurring theme is how something Callie talked about earlier. As black men, we're supposed to be stone statues, black Superman, you know, and the reality of it is that we hurt and have emotions and have to deal with our emotions too. And as it relates to our women, shoot, it's more important that we deal with our emotions before our emotions deal with us. All the jokes I made about hiding a dead body. Listen, if somebody walk in this room right now and punch me in the face, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm calling the police because I got too much to lose.
Mm.
I absolutely, I got grants pending. I can't be fighting, you know what I mean? But, you know, we go through it. We go through a lot, and we're just expected to be stoic about about everything and anything, and it's killing us with our health, and it's killing our families because we can't be the men that they need us to be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, props, brother, props. And and I apologize if I sound like I'm putting this all on the ladies, because it's not. Again, if you've been to one of my one of my events, we've come to the conclusion that we've got to find a way to get together and be able to speak safely without no, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault.
So Das, I even before you started the poem, we all knew that it was an emotional piece. It was close to the heart. And as you read through the piece, it became deeper and deeper, yet more lifting, more freeing. And even at the end of the poem, I saw you take that deep breath and let it go.
Mm.
And I just felt so good for you. So I just want you to know. And if I can say anything else, you had a line in it that says, trying to force a spark when there's no sign of lightning. Beautiful. Very
Yeah,
personal.
that one I love too. Yeah.
Very real. And then lastly, something that I would say to my son: be that shield, brother, but be it for the ones that deserve it. That's it.
Mm.
Mhm.
I gotta say, the one thing I like about the piece is, despite what you've been through, there's still hope in there. And whereas, you know, you, and I'm speaking from a male perspective, usually when what can happen is a man use that pain and turn it into more pain and cause more pain towards women. But I like the fact that there's still a shred of hope in that piece and that you're clinging on. And that's very important, because we can go to that dark side. We can, you know, just say the hell with it. And then, you know, and then it's just a cycle of pain. So, you know, that's what I like about that piece. Yeah.
I was actually going to say the same thing, James. I love your poetry, guys, and I love it because you're brave as a Black man. You're brave because you're able to express your emotions really, really well. And like James and Raymond was saying, a lot of times that can get difficult, but that is one of the most important parts of our healing is being able to tap into that part of ourselves to even acknowledge that we do hurt. Otherwise, we do get into that cycle, like James was saying, where we re-hurt other people. But the way you're able to express it and the way you're able to always see both sides of everything and find yourself inside of your own writing is always beautiful. So I always enjoy listening to your stuff.
Yeah, I agree there as well. And what I want to say is that, you know, going through separation and divorce is extremely difficult. And especially when you're looking at your children. But, you know, what you said about, you know, what's worse, you know, and what I always feel like for me is that, you know, to show our children, like, you know, the reality, like, yeah, things don't work out. There's pain, and like being honest and raw with those emotions will teach them more than you know, the perfect fairyland, you know, princess like and prince in a castle ever could, because we're preparing them for life, because life is full of disappointments. So why raise children as if, like, you know, you're going to release them into Candyland? You're not. So yeah, stay strong. Your poetry is amazing.
Dawes, I'm sorry, I had to run. There was a knock at the door,
Oh,
and
understood.
I had to run, and then I had to get a package. And anyway, Dawes, so what I felt from your piece was you being vulnerable, and what I felt was raw emotion, and I felt that there is still some raw emotion there, but I hope when you wrote it, because I felt it in the way you used your words and your tonality and how you expressed it, and I was like, oh, I still feel his pain right now, like like it's just right there. That's not easy to convey. I mean, you can tell that that's truth in what you're writing, and it was beautiful. And after, I just like want to hug you. Like, it's just like I just want to hug you after hearing that. You need a hug. But I'll tell you this: there's nothing more sexier than a Black man that is vulnerable. There is nothing more sexier than a Black man that's more vulnerable. And you might be getting some hit ups after this. So you're like, oh yeah, he ain't with her no more. He ain't got no kids, and he got a bed that can hold me. Okay, word, here I come. So I'm just saying that it was beautiful that you can convey the hurt and the pain that you were going through. And I hope that you seek resolve from it.
I appreciate all the words like this. That piece was more or less somebody close to me and my family got involved with another person, like I said, and it just, that person just rocked the whole family, like just didn't bumping heads with every single person. My dad, my sister, just but she tried to still keep bringing us together, and it's like it's not gonna work. You do not see what it's doing to you. And when I wrote it, I literally went to her house. I had a case of beer. I was like, I drunk one. I was like, Mom, we gotta talk to you. Man, if we didn't cry for like 10 minutes after that, man, like just broke down, just like, and it was just really a good moment. Lo and behold, I had to write a second piece, second part to it, because she went back. Like, but to each his own. But I feel like this piece could also for anybody dealing with somebody who's like an addict or just involved in anything that is hurting them physically, emotionally, spiritually. Like, it was just letting you know, like, why are you here? And then at the same time, when I was writing it, I realized I have to let people hit bottom first before. Sometimes some people just got thick heads. Like, I know me, like, I got to hit floor first. I realized, oh, that was a mistake. So I do appreciate all y'all, for saying those, because I haven't read that, but to her. So I was like, whew.
I think that it was amazing. I wrote down that there's passion in your prose, like in your writing. And I think that that is what everybody was saying here tonight. That when you begin to do your poetry, and I've heard other poems as well, there's always passion in it. And that's what Raymond was saying, and what we say as women, and what James was saying, that, we don't get that from men, especially not from our Black men, because as children, you're taught to keep that inside, or that's a sign of weakness. So for you to even come on the platform and be able to share that with us, I think it's phenomenal. And I say thank you. And I love I wrote down, because I always got to write down my favorite line from each and every poet, right? And I wrote down the shield. I wrote about you. To me, hearing it is about, trying to save your family. And a lot of times when I have the similar discussions with my family, they say like, oh, nah, she gonna get back with him. So, I ain't getting involved or whatever. And I say the same thing, like, no, I'm always gonna be there. And when you said shield or fall back on your own knife, that's the part that stuck out for me. Like, be the shield or fall back on your own knife. So, prayerfully, it's not the latter. And we can be able to shield our friends and our family from some of the things that we see coming. So I definitely agree with you when you say some people got hard heads and they got to go through it. But a really good friend of mine said to me one day, I kept saying, I was younger then, and I kept saying, I'm gonna learn from my mistakes. And he said, I said, I'm gonna go, I go through it and I'm gonna learn. He said, you don't always have to go through it. And he was about probably 10 years older than me. He said, I've been through it. So if I'm saying to you, you're walking and I said, there's a hole, you don't have to fall in the hole to know that there's a hole. I'm telling you, there's a hole. So walk around the hole.
Raven's right.
Right? So
like,
go ahead, we'll be quiet. Go ahead, Raven, what you said?
No, everything you were saying, I'm just, yes, everything you were saying. Yeah, I typed in the chat. Sometimes when we try and offer women insight, it's interpreted as man speak or hate or jealousy. I never forget, a friend of mine asked me about this guy, and it's like, ooh, you want to roll with him? I was like, you know him. She was like, you know him, right? What you think about it? I'm like, "Eh." I'm grown, and I don't hang with that dude because he's too much trouble. You know what I mean? I see him coming. I walk the other way because he's always trying. And then when he start, wearing out, what you want me to say? I tried to tell you.
Sometimes life, unfortunately, is the best
We
teacher.
we need a family meeting.
Exactly.
No, we do. We listen. Everything men say is not toxic, and a lot of stuff we say is toxic. But everything we say ain't toxic, and yeah, we need a family meeting.
Well, I can't wait. So after y'all meet, y'all gonna come back and share with us, ladies? Or are we invited to the meeting?
No, the ladies definitely have to be.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make
Do
sure.
you know how dense men are? I mean, for real, for real.
Yeah, well,
I'm saying,
look at me.
I can't speak for James and Dice, but I'm saying in general, we be dense. Raymond, Raymond, very dense, and I know this.
We appreciate your realness and your honesty. So, what we're going to do right now is allow Miss Ameerah to speak, right? I can't even believe it, but okay, this is what's happening, right? So
Yeah.
Sherry got the questions because she's been here. She's been here since the start of.
Hey, I love poetry. I'd be here regardless.
Thank you.
Great program. First of all, thank you for inviting me. And I love the format of it. This is a great conversation amongst like-minded people. Beautiful. Thank you. So the first question you asked was, how long did you know, or when did you first find out that you were going to be, or you were a poet? And the answer to that for me is, I didn't find out. I was a writer before even thinking about becoming a poet. And I also facilitated youth poetry groups. And I wrote several poems for other people, but not thinking that I would ever take this type of route in terms of having my writing out there. It was midstream into writing a novel, and it just seemed to never be ending. So I said, you know what? Those poems, they're like short stories. Let me just get those out and then come back to the novel. And I've been on this grind ever since. So the question then becomes, what was the first poem? I've always worked in a diverse area. It was amazing to me when Latinos, Hispanics didn't really understand the connection that we had via the African diaspora. So the first poem I wrote was, there would be no salsa without the African and the rhythm of his drum. And to answer your question, do I still perform that? I had my babies perform it in a Black History Month program, brought the house down. And yes, I do still perform that particular piece. I wish I had a Spanish accent though when I do it, but I don't. So a little bit about myself. I am the founder and the host and the facilitator of When Women Speak, which is a platform that I host to allow women creatives to have their voice, find their voice, appreciate their voice, and appreciate others. We also use that space to uplift women and let them know that their voices are magic. I'm also the co-host with James Ellerbe, the fabulous James Ellerbe, on When People Speak, which is the brother-sister program to When Women Speak. We have men and women on When People Speak. For When Women Speak, it's just women poets. I'm also the author of Breathing Through Concrete, and I'm now in several other anthologies, and I'm very proud of that work. I'm an artist as well and a photographer. So let me just stop talking about that. Yeah, thank you, Crystal. I'm going to go ahead and get into my poem. You talked about the first poem. Now I'm going to read the last poem that I wrote. Rescue heard this. Sorry, Rescue. But I read this last evening. Were we together, Rescue, or the other evening? We were together soon, not long ago. But this one was written on Martin Luther King Day. So I was kind of like tired of the children only knowing of two African-American greats. They know three now, Barack Obama, but and now Kamala. So we have four. But during Black History Month, they always talk about Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. So on his birthday, Martin Luther King's birthday, I wanted to give him reverence, but at the same time, it just struck a chord that we have more in this legacy. So here's the poem. This is called This Ain't No I Have a Dream poem. This ain't no I Have a Dream poem. Dear Reverend King, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Reverend King. But this ain't no I have a dream poem, because dreams deferred are like tsunamis when unleashed, quaking and rushing, leaving no time to think. Why you say not today? I stood with my hand cross-folded and holding my heart, pledging my allegiance to a flag that never alleged anything to me. But you know, this ain't no I have a dream poem. Singing we shall overcome never appealed to me. Get it? Like I was 10, hand over heart, words splat, lift every voice and sing, knowing all along I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like that river, I've been running ever since. And mama and them cried and they sang the blues, watching views of Kennedy and Kennedy and Cook and Malcolm and Herbert Lee and Medgar Evers and James Chaney and Viola Lusa and Fred Hampton and the unknown Robert Spike and Wallace Jackson until Emmett Till in open caskets, boxes like pine was our favorite wood. Black memoirs of timelines and histories, non-spoken in his story or her story, but it's our story. No, this ain't no I have a dream poem, because you know, I was 4 when King peacefully forged for freedom and jobs and freedom and life and little white kids and little black kids having futures of hands linked and bonds of human existences. But it ain't, but it ain't, but it ain't. Ain't it something when they wasn't even talking about me and free, me and free, me and free? I have a dream that one day, but this ain't no I have a dream poem. I was 6. I was 6 when someone yelled, "Get your hand out my pocket!" And shots fired like rockets, popping dreams and spirits and lives into futures of dead end places. So they thought, no justice, no peace. They left his family crying in the street. I am a man. I am a man. Banners flew free, tattered and shredded into dreams over decades of more. We shall overcome. But when? This ain't no I have a dream poem, because see, I was 9. I was 9 when the fingers pointed to the skies, or maybe it was the North Star. Sweet Lorraine was a motel. Shots fired, dreams painted on faces, moved to fingertips and yelled, and someone yelled, and someone yells, I won't get to the mountaintop with you. I won't. Before dropping, and all took knees in tears and pain and rains of more. I have a dream, but it's gonna be deferred. Yeah, don't you know? I was 2. I was 2 when we went on that freedom ride. I was 5 when my rights became legal. Bloody Sunday was my 6-year-old birthday memory. Ode to Selma, Burn, Mississippi, Burn, was my freedom song. 8 when a man became the greatest. Ali, Ali, Ali. I was 9 when you told me I was allowed to live freely. Any house, anywhere, just not over there. I was 9. I was 9 when the Chicago 7 walked the line. I was 11 when the first Black mayor of my city went to work. I was 13. Run, Shirley, run. Pass the baton to Jesse when you're done. I was 25. And then again, 29. And it's been a long time coming, But I know change gonna come. I was 49. I was 49 and it was time for a Black man to lead the country. Tell me, have we overcome yet? And you know the rest. I'm just ready, I guess. A change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. This ain't no I have a dream poem. Brooks, Floyd, Taylor, Sterling, Gray, Garner, Rice, Amadou, just to name a few. They all had dreams too. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. They matter to me. Now watch your feet. Watch out for those letters in the street. This ain't no I have a dream poem. Wake up, wake up. Dreams live where you sleep. Dreams live where you sleep. It's been a long time coming, but now I think I'm able to carry on, 'cause change gonna come, change gonna come. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. In the key of Stevie, I wonder. So that was my poem.
Yes.
What?
Look at that. Look at that. What?
Gave me chills just like the first time I heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So yeah, that's my life in a timeline there.
Mm.
I see. I'm like, you was 6 years old. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Mm.
So
Your good butt don't crack either then. Shit.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
I'm like, you was 6,
yep.
you was 5. What the hell?
Truthfully, lived
She
through
said
all.
I was 49. I'm like, was? Like, what you mean? You don't look nowhere close to that.
Mm, I'm grateful to be turning 62. So
Shut the
You are not.
yes.
Shut the back. Come on.
No.
Gotta stop.
The words ain't even coming out. She just making all faces.
No, that's
You know
true.
what? Give me some of that. Whatever you got, I want some. Keep drinking that damn Pepsi, sis.
Hey, yeah, right. That code.
For real.
Callie, maybe it's the green tea, Callie.
Whatever it is, please keep doing it, because I was not expecting those numbers to come out of your mouth.
Exactly.
Too. Thank you.
I got goosebumps with your poem. It was beautiful, it was powerful, it was poignant, but it was sad at the same time for you to have gone through that timeline and to say all of those different stages in your life where change was supposed to be coming, and still at this age we're still waiting for it. It was powerful, and I'm still getting goosebumps just remembering the words that you spoke. I absolutely love that one.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel that way. I feel like somehow I also dropped the ball, because if you go through the civil rights of the 60s and then still be here in 2000 talking the same old stuff,
Right.
watching the same old protests, the same old march on Washington, the same old signs, and the same damn treatment.
Right.
It's just it's mind boggling. So yeah, that's where that poem stemmed from. All of that.
Yeah, I felt your anger in that.
Yeah.
I felt your anger. Like you were exasperated. Like I'm tired. Yeah, happy birthday to you. But have we come as far as we really should have come? Yeah, it's just like when you said dreams like remain on where they at, just
Where you
keep on.
sleep.
Dreams live where you sleep. Yeah.
Like because what you say, we pop in dreams and spirits and lies, and it just gave me that imagery of, it's just like, it's just nothing. It's like, we got to shake this off again and then keep going. So I really want to give homage to you, Martin Luther King. I really do. I want to say you did do a lot for us. You did do so much for us, but we still in the same boat that we was back then. We ain't getting water hose. We just getting shot down, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's
So
like
passion. I felt your passion, and I don't know, but that's how it translated to me. I felt that like, I'm angry that I have to write this, and you did it so eloquently. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that
And I
feedback.
love your voice. Like, you got a voice.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's sexy and it's convicting. Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you.
Listen, I'm gonna jump in here because I'm like, I wrote so many, I got my little pad here. Right? And I'm just like, I wrote down the same thing, dreams live where you sleep. And then you said, in the key of Stevie, I wonder, was how you ended the piece. Like,
yeah.
And then like, just now when Dujuana was speaking even about the Martin Luther King, it brought me back to what you just said. Like, you know, where it brought me back to a line in one of my poems where I said, you know, I'm calling on our ancestors because they were told the change was going to come, but till this day, I've seen none. So when you say that, and I'm reminded of when they started like burning down the Target or whatever, that many people kept saying peaceful protest.
Yeah.
What Martin Luther King would have done, right? And I'm like, you know, F that, I'm Malcolm. That's number one, right? Number two, it's like when you said no justice, no peace. My question is, do you really, to the people who fail to give us the justice, do you truly understand what that means when we chant no justice, no peace? Meaning you will not have peace until we receive justice. And I don't think it comes together. So it's just so much in that one poem, like it like amazing.
It's so much. And then you brought to mind, I think that's something that was in my subconscious when I wrote that part. Like those folks on January 6th, they showed you what a march is. Like as negative as that sounds, they want us to be peaceful when they come. This is straight out of Malcolm. When they coming at us other. But now those folks, they weren't so peaceful at all.
If I can add to that, even there's a interview that Martin Luther King did, and he said, "I will not criminalize the rioter." Mm-hmm. He said because they feel they're not being heard, and that's why they riot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And you know, they won't show that Malcolm. I mean that Martin. They won't show that Martin. They want the peaceful. They want the, you know, the dreamer, as you pointed out. But he also was, you know, like there was one time he said, "I feel like I've led my people into a burning house." You know, because he realized the gravity. Yeah, we can do all this. We can do all this, but you know, we're still going to pay the price in order to be free. You see what I'm saying? He understood that, and it's like, how much of a price can we pay as a people? You know, that's the spirit that was coming from. You know, and I felt that in your piece. You know, I felt that part of Martin, the Martin that was tired of, you know, even back then, you know, he was tired. You know, so.
The Martin at the end. The Martin at the end.
End, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those things were going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They had to.
Yeah.
And so when they got rid of him, they kind of tricked us people into thinking that in a way we do have to be peaceful because we're not dealt with the same as other people are. But at the same time, ain't no revolution ever been peaceful.
Exactly. Come on now, you better say that. There was so much history in your poem too. Mm-hmm. Like if you didn't know, now you know. Like,
and
go ahead, James.
And we must remember the reason why he was killed, not because of the peaceful Martin, because he was on the verge of joining forces with Martin. Martin was going to control the movement in the North, and he was going to control the movement in the South, because he learned that we needed each other in order to fight this what was going on with our people. You know, because he was seeing that what was going on in the North was more systematic, whereas in the South it was more in your face. You know, it was you know, orchestrated in every aspect from the economy, you know, to you know, education, all that, you know. So that's what got Martin killed. You know.
Watch the connection even in the poem, the people that I spoke about in the 60s that they wiped out in one decade.
Mm-hmm.
There's reason, purpose, and connection.
Come on now.
Each and every name. So they wanted to stifle us, and they were successful because look, we're in 2020 now. Very
Right.
successful. So what you gonna do?
And it's like every event that you listed, when it happened, and when I say we, I mean my ancestors and the people that were around during that time, we were looking with bated, like we held our breath, like surely they will see how injustice is and things will change. And nothing changed. Then we got angry, and then we started to speak out, and then another major event happened, and then we held our breath. Surely they'll see that things are crazy for us and things have changed, and we waited, and we're still waiting to this moment for somebody, some politician or somebody in government to see how unjust things are for us, and surely something will change. And we're finally, I feel like we're finally at that point where we're recognizing they ain't gonna do it.
Exactly. And that's why this time around, at the beginning of all of this, the protests were different. That's why when Tamika got up there and said,
Yes.
I don't give a damn about no target. I'm like, this is what I'm saying to you. It could burn for all we care. Now you hear us. Now you see us. Now, and it's not everybody. But Dujuana, are you raising your hand for me? Go ahead, Dujuana. You're muted, Dujuana.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get my mouse to work. When you said Tamika, you mean our Tamika, Earth Tamika?
No. What's Tamika's last name? Yes.
Maori. BLM.
Tamika Rowling. She's an activist.
Black Lives Matter.
But you do know about what happened to our Tamika.
I saw it. It went viral. I saw it on the news. I saw it on CNN. I saw her Karen experience. What happened? Go ahead, Dujuana.
So she walked out of her house. She lives in Bayonne, New Jersey. She walked out of her house to go to the store. She passed a woman that was talking to a mailman, and she made a comment to them. The lady was saying, "My mail's always late," and Tamika said, "My mail's always late too." And this lady commenced to calling her the N-word for 5 blocks, and followed her. And she was a N, a B, a this, a that. I mean, it was, I felt for her because this is the first person that I knew this closely that something like that has happened to. I know Tamika, and it was a miracle that Tamika didn't bash her head in and give it a twisted T beat down. She didn't. But I know Tamika. And I said, what happened? And she said, "No, I'm not going to do that," because she knew she would have got locked up if she would have retaliated against this woman who verbally assaulted her, harassed her, and chastised her for 5 blocks, followed her. And then she's like, "But you're following me." She recorded the whole thing. "You're following me." And she was like, "No, you was and she called her an N and a B and a this and a that. And it was appalling to watch. And so I check in with Tamika now because it's not over for her. Because now she has trauma that she has to get through and get. Oh, once again, we have trauma from other people who just don't know their way. These things happen. I can say a whole bunch of things about the man that was in office and how people felt comfortable using that word again because it was accepted by him or what. But you know what? What's right is right, is wrong is wrong. But a councilwoman got involved. The police are involved. They did a whole investigation. They actually arrested her. So that is good, but it doesn't take away the pain that has inserted itself in her core. So she's right now trying to get that out. And I'm my sister's keeper. So I check on her, we talk, whatever she need to do, whatever and however she needs to do it. I would want that to not happen to anybody. So the only thing that I could say, because I didn't even want to post it on my page because it was that appalling and that horrific. Do people need to see it? Yeah, look at your people, look how they acted. But what I said was, everybody, when you leave your house with a charged phone, because you need that. That's our weapons right now. We can't pull out anything if we don't want to go to jail. So pull out your phones. That's our only defense that we have at this point. I mean, unless somebody step to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raymond. I'm sorry, Kylie.
I just want to ask a question, and I didn't know about this incident, but I've lived this incident, witnessed this incident, had to step up and get in between myself and a sister a couple times in incidents like this. And I'm not saying, let's go put the beat down on white people or let's ostracize ourselves from white people. But listen, can we be honest and say it's time for us to be. I remember I saw Sister Soldier speak, and she said this: we got to be honest about who our friends are and who our friends are not. And if our friends are our friends, they're not going to see incidents like that and say trust the system, or that's I gotta laugh and say I got an uncle who's like that and he don't really mean that, he's harmless. Listen, if that's the way you feel, then we just you showing me who you really are. It's time for us to believe people when they say who they are. And I don't just mean white folks. I mean all these black folks. And I can name some names, but I
exactly.
I ain't gonna name them tonight. But because while we're speaking now and having this event, somebody somewhere is going through it, and they just going to brush it off and not even report it. Or if they do report it, we don't never see what we see. It's never as bad as we say it is. Even our doctors say that black people have a higher threshold for pain. This is the science that we're trusting.
That's insane. All of that is insane. It puts things in like full perspective if it wasn't there already. But, I won't take up too much time. I know Kylie had unmuted her mic, so I want to give her the opportunity to say what she was going to say before I interrupted.
Before I interrupted, I'm sorry.
No, I think before Raymond started speaking, Kylie was speaking, so if she's still interested.
I'll explain this all on Ameerah and her poem.
No, this is why we're here.
It's Ameerah and her poem.
Hey, it's
this
a time.
This is why we're here.
It's time for it.
Yes, and this is what we came to do. This is why we're here for sure. And we have to speak about the things. We have voices and we have to use them. No, not at all, Raymond, because I'm reading your chat at the same time because, I'm multitasking. Not at all. Don't feel that way. No need to apologize. This is Sip and Speak. So not only are we here to recite poetry, we're here to speak about whatever it is. Go ahead, Dujuana. Mm-hmm.
I want to say something to Raymond. I know Raymond doesn't know me, but I've seen him on a lot of things and admire his work. And I just wanted to say that. So I hope he heard it.
You still there, Raymond?
He on the toilet.
First of all, I'm familiar with you.
You done started him up.
You're not on the toilet, Raymond. He got the background. He's sitting down on the toilet.
Okay.
Somebody always
No,
going
first of
on
all,
radio.
I'm familiar with you. I'm not sure exactly where we came into contact before, but I remember the name. I remember your face. I remember your voice. The whole nine. You know, I've been given a nickname by some poets in Philly as Mufasa because I've done this from coast to coast. So I'm
Yeah,
like the old poetry guy. So.
yeah. I think I've known you from back 2002, 3, and 4, around that time.
From when Ross was doing his open mics.
Yeah, but I thought I saw
Baraka.
somewhere else. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know where.
and maybe Ameerah's house too, brother Ameerah's
But I
house too,
think, yeah,
maybe.
you know what? I don't know where. And then I seen you online a couple of times, and
Yeah.
I admire your work. So I just wanted to say that before I left, because yeah, I can't stay for the second round. Since you got these poetry marathons and shit. I don't get it.
I know. Wait, I was just going to say that because first I wanted to apologize to Raymond if I cut him off in the middle of what he was saying, because that was not my intention. So I do apologize.
You
And I
I
was going to.
apologize for cutting off Callie. I didn't know she was
You
speaking.
cut me off. Look at you.
It's okay. This is what we do. It's an open platform. This is
Okay, you my sister. You can do it. That's
you
fine.
know I love you, right? But it has been a while, and I do appreciate your time. And I know at the beginning I said we were going to do a round two, but it is 7:40 right now. So I thank you for hanging out with me for the last 3 hours. Right? It's my math, right? My basic math, right?
Hungry. I'm getting hungry. The dogs is hungry. The dogs is crawling on
I
rest.
know. So what we're
I
gonna
don't know if you got there with you and James. Everybody hungry in your house, and Crystl is cooking because that's what she do.
I know. And DoorDash then showed up. My son then went and got the food and everything.
Rakim done left because
He's still on there. His camera just off.
No, he's taking a nap. Rakim is
I know. He said he went to work and he just ate.
and then he did that poem. He exuded a lot of energy from the shower, and now he's in the bed.
Listen. So what we're gonna do is pick up next month. But before we leave, right? I want to one say thank you to all of you. Two, if you hadn't done so already, please leave your contact information, not just in the chat here on the Zoom, but also in the live on Facebook, so that the audience who may be watching, I've seen a couple, I haven't perfected the ability to multitask and check the comments as well. So please leave your information there, should anybody desire to get in contact with you. And then to anybody who may be watching, the public and the audience, I want to apologize, because that's the difference between the Zoom and the live. You don't get the immediate, and I know Ameerah and James, the platform, what is it again that you use for when women speak?
StreamYard.
Yes. And I like it because it allows you the ability to see the comments. So you're connecting with the audience as well. And I feel like, although this has been amazing, that's where we did not necessarily connect to be able to see what they're saying, but they are asking about you. People are asking, like, what's her contact information? Where can I reach out to you? So please, artists, do that if you haven't done so already. And for the people who's watching, we're gonna, next month, I will definitely try my best to have like VIP guests come in and share in this platform with us.
We are VIPs. What you talking about? VIP.
Guests, not the artists. Like some of the guests, like people, like if you wanted to plus one, Dujuana, right? And somebody just wanted to be on here with you, and they don't have to be an artist, but they can still be here on the Zoom and share in the conversation. So, let me make sure.
I've been here so long, I don't know. My brains is like going to mushy.
It's okay. Listen, 4th Saturdays, 4:44 p.m. We're about to close out at exactly 7:43 p.m. 44, right? Started at 4:44. It's about to be 7:44. I mean, I'm just here with the numbers for y'all, right? So to each and every one of you guys, I thank you so much for being a part of this. Sip and Speak with Paradise. I am Paradise Christie, 4th Saturdays at 4:44 p.m. Join us here. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone.
Wait, but don't end the live yet. You can end the Facebook live, but not this one because I'm still trying to get stuff. I'm just trying.
It's live and they could hear you.
Well, what up, y'all? That you can hear me taking pictures of everybody. I like to like a
Dujuana Sharese. So
get close. Ameerah,
Yes,
come
ma'am.
on with your I'm 950 years old and ain't looking a day over 40. Come on, bring that. Come on.
exactly.
And you're one of those black don't crack memes.
Oh, Daz woke up, everybody.
Hey, Rocky.
Just in time to close it down. Look, he got on
Yeah.
What's this sleeping? I'm listening. I just
Listen,
back and
Dujuana
forth.
said,
Trying to clean up
Daz
because
is
my feet
sleeping,
anymore.
Raymond's in the bathroom, Crustl's
It's
cooking.
worse.
So it's been fun. Do you got all your footage, Dujuana?
Yeah, wait, hold on. Wait. I'm checking it. You like this thing don't let you print the text messages that you
Dujuana, I put the number in there for you. Let me do it again.
Oh wait, okay.
Mm-hmm.
What no spaces though, Mom?
Okay. Look, text me too so I can get yours.
Gosh, I
Okay.
got
I stopped the live stream so we can get
dyslexia and got ADD. All your numbers is loving each other. Like pulling a train, ain't no stops.
Who's that? Raymond, wait a minute. I did not babysit Malcolm.
I
know where you live, Raymond.
Out of control.
Got you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get everybody's, yeah.
Okay.
So to all the ladies, I'm probably going to reach out to you to join When Women Speak. We could use all the voices, you know, and everybody's got a different story they want to tell, and it makes the show magic. So look out for something from me.
Stories, or is it poetry?
It's poetry. When I say stories, you know, that's what poetry is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Tuesday night is when people speak,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.